Coming to you live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Killer Bees.
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Here's Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
It's Haterade time, baby. He's Blank on Branham. This is the Fireman by Lil Wayne. This is Josh Hader's walk-up song. It runs and turning a one-run deficit into a 5.
It's not Enter Sandman, but it's definitely – that doesn't matter what you play when Josh Hader has been a little less than since he's become a Houston Astro. Disappointing last night, but there's a lot to talk.
Astros built a Stars and Scrubs bullpen. Was that wrong? We'll get to that in a second. Did they construct the bullpen in the wrong way when you talk about the finances? 713-780-ESPN. But first things first. If let's assume the closer's your best pitcher in your bullpen. They usually are. I'm not even talking about the Astros staff. Would you, if you were a manager, would you rather use your closer down by 1 run in the 9th or up by 3 runs in the 9th?
I think I'm going to use him when up by 3 runs in the 9th.
Okay, because 8885, what were y'all's thoughts on bringing in Hader when trailing? I didn't understand that. I'd rather my closer actually pitch down by 1. If I care about the feelings, it's something that I'd be willing to alter during the course of a regular season. I think you have a better chance to win the game than up by 3 runs. I had pitch and save situations. No, I think it's more valuable if you have them pitching down by 1 in the 9th as opposed to up by 3 in the 9th. So there's a lot of reasons to bang on Joe Espada, and we banged on him plenty in that first segment with his over-aggression on the bases. Didn't love his usage of Montero. If you're going to get Abreu up, why don't you just start the inning with with Brian Abreu? This is not one where I'm banging on Joe Espada. I have no issue, if rested, that a closer's coming into the 9th inning down by a run.
I think the bigger thing, Jeremy, is that it's a product of the situation that they're in right now with the lack of arms and the lack of major league arms that can get guys out, and the fact that late in the games, the organization, because of all the guys that are on the IL and that they don't have in their bullpen that they didn't add during the offseason, everybody keeps saying help's on the way. Arms, your starters are going to come back, which is going to add to the bullpen. But right now, I don't think there's a whole hell of a lot of trust in a whole lot of guys in that bullpen, especially in a one-run game. That's why you're going to see a lot more than you may normally see of Hader, and then as it relates to Abreu and as it relates to Presley. But more so than anything else, people are going to bang on this because Hader got beat up, and he gave up the hits and he gave up the run. Guys out so I can stay in this game and get my bats in the bottom of the 9th to have a chance, and he went to his closer, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, that's like sometimes we use the winning and losing, was it the right move? I always challenge people to ask themselves in the moment what they would do as opposed to waiting and doing the hindsight 2020. 3667 texting in, all of you can, 713-780-3776. And this is kind of an antiquated opinion. It's not one that I agree with at all. Closers don't come in when you're down. That's not what they're there for. Closing a game means you're locking down the win. What are you trying to do? 2-3. It gets to the bottom of the 9th, and then all of a sudden you get a bloop and a blast, and you win the game. Oh, what a great move that was from Joe Espada. Using your closer when you're down by a run is totally okay. Totally acceptable.
No doubt about it, because, like you said, who else is he going to there? And what is your probability of winning the game if you go to someone else? Because a majority of these guys, and some of the guys that are getting either their first sniff or they're trying to hang on and get another job and trying to, prove that they're a major league pitcher, it hasn't worked out. And the guys more times than not end up. What was the extra inning game where they brought in the relief pitcher the next day that they sent back to Sugarland? But you just you gave up 2 hits. You gave up Suero. You give up the hit right away. The game's over, and you're like, okay, well that sucked. Well, yeah, but at the same time, and get me a chance to get to the bottom of the 9th, whereas if you put in a guy like Josh Hader, you expect he's going to shut the door and at least give you a fighting chance.
Yeah, I have and will never have is up by 3 in the 9th. Like, that's you're up by 3 in the 9th inning, you're kind of mopping up the inning. Why would you waste your closer to mop up the inning? The answer to that's because it's a save situation. There are these old classic statistics that we have to honor and uphold when we're making these managerial decisions. No, name a reliever who's giving up 3 runs in Josh Hader. There you go. I named a reliever that's giving up 3 runs in an inning. Did the Astros construct this bullpen the right way? Still within 6 years of service time. So they have him on a very, very affordable deal. So that's awesome. That's great. The Astros have 3 relievers that combine for nearly $45 million. They're paying Josh Hader $19 million a year. They're paying Ryan Presley $14 million a year. They're paying Rafael Montero $11.5 million a year. That's $44.5 million. Like, makes terrific sense to spend that much money on the bullpen. You look around baseball and, like, look at the better teams. How many of those really good teams are spending $45.5 million on their bullpen? None of them are. And there's really not, one specific person to fault here, because Ryan Presley was actually a James Click extension before he was let go. Rafael Montero, like, that was the whole GM by committee with Crane, Bagwell, Reggie, Enos, Biggio, I guess, whoever was around from the previous regime. And then Hader was maybe the same people, but Dana Brown was now in the mix. $44.5 million to three relievers is absurd.
Yeah. The thing was, we were talking about during the entire offseason, add some arms, add an arm or two, whether you re-sign the guys that you lost or you get a veteran reliever or two, add a bat, do some things. And then there was that lull where nothing was being done and everybody was being critical, and there was a lot of it's not what we saw was the most pressing need or needs for this team, but you're like, whoa, wow. That's the number of arms that a lot of teams feel like they so far, when you look at the paid reliever in the game, that you probably really good eighth inning guy in Abreu, and you had some guys that got away that had really good years, or at least a half a year in Maton's case, but you had a Neris that had an all-world type year for you a year ago, where you had some guys that were able to get their jobs done. And when you look at the overall, and that was a wait and see where you were excited, it was a name, it was a blockbuster, it was a splash. But how is it really going to be in terms of helping? You need a couple of arms and a bat that could have made this team better.
2.662 would $44 million be insane still if they were meeting expectations? Yeah, I mean, we had the same conversation in the offseason. We had the conversation when Hader signed. Like, is this the best use of resources? Is looking at two relievers there who can eat innings. You talk about a bat, you're still under $44 million. And these have been in three different periods of time. Presley was done during, I think, the start of the season 2 years ago. So that was done before Click left. Then you did Montero last offseason. Then you did Hader this offseason. So it wasn't like, okay, we're going to, in this one offseason, we're going to spend $44.5 million on the bullpen. This was collectively over $4.5 million. Like, it's a little bit, it makes you think. It makes you grind your teeth a little bit. Spent $44.5 million on this. Could have had Justin Turner for 13. Could have had Neris for 10. Like, the distribution of their payroll is where the problem lies. Because you can't call Jim Crane cheap. Like, Jim Crane's top 5 in payroll. He's in the, he's going into the competitive balance tax. He's going to pay a tax on this year's payroll. So you can't call him cheap. But he's not willing to add the solid pieces in the middle of the bullpen or a solid bench piece for $5 to $7 million because he is already over the luxury tax. And why is he over the luxury tax? Because the distribution of money is poor.
It also makes you wonder, Jeremy, about the pecking order and the things that, thanks to Reggie's interview, that you start to wonder about Dana Brown just getting into the seat, starting to feel comfortable, trying to want to do things, but probably not wanting to push the other seat that say, hey, for about half that money, I could add 2 or 3 arms to my bullpen. I could add a bat or 2 to my lineup, and top to bottom, this team is a better overall team than it is giving me one blockbuster, big name, back of the bullpen closer guy that still hasn't addressed the 2 biggest holes that we were talking about the entire offseason.
Yeah. The guy who said that closers should be closing, so he sent me the Google definition. Closer is generally a team's best reliever and designated to pitch the last few outs of a game when his team is leading by a margin of 3 runs or fewer. You're right, man. My bad. Closers never come into the game unless it's a safe situation. You're right. You convinced me. You talked me into it. 713-780-ESPN, HRP listener line. Where do you stand on this, Hive? 713-780-3776. And he is real. Forrest Whitley getting the call. What does that mean to this team? It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
You're back with the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community.
Forrest Whitley is the newest Houston Astro. The Astros are calling him up, sending Spencer Arrighetti down, just to get another arm of the pin. Former top prospect in Major League Baseball, top pitching prospect in Major League Baseball. He's had the whole PED thing. He's been riddled with injuries in his career. You thought Lance McCullers was injury prone? Well, meet his counterpart is because he had an injury to like his left pinky finger. So he's been back. He's pitched a couple of times in Sugarland, and he's getting the call to the bigs finally after he was the number 17th pick in the.
That makes him a possibility to be productive for the Astros in Major League Baseball. We've heard too much about him for too long of a time. I've said doing things that end up being because all we've heard over and over again about this bonus baby, this arm, this unbelievable talent, and then it's been disappointment after disappointment. There's handle that and get ball club.
I actually like his stuff. It hasn't necessarily led to results, but he's got velo. I mean, he throws like in the upper 90s. They say he's got a good sinker that's like mid 90s. I don't know what his breaking ball looks like, but I actually like his stuff. I think that he's somebody who these converted starters. It's going to come down to command, and it's going to come down to his mentality.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got to be able to pitch, not just throw. I think this is one of those guys that we've never questioned arm strength. He's on a, you know what I'm saying. With as much,
we've spent all of the time.
You know what I'm saying too. Like people, internet sensation. We see all these Twitter videos anymore, and there's that's not going to be. I need to be a starter. See it,
Joel. I think you just said one that has a short sample size, but 3 innings, 4 earned runs. Last season he threw 30 innings, had a 5.70 ERA. I mean, I get that the Astros are desperate, but, man, I just –
of all of the numbers, the ERA is not good. So expecting him to go from the minors to the bigs and like, okay, he's going to have a better ERA comes in when you're down by 3 runs part of the lineup. But quite frankly, he had a few runs. Now, with the Astros bullpen kind of upside down and tired, you might see him with a lead. But if you had everybody rested, Forrest Whitley's not a leverage guy. Forrest Whitley's team has been a revolving door. Like, how many guys have they called up and sent down and called up and sent down? So they're just trying to find fresh arms. He's rested. He does have a big arm. His stuff is good. It hasn't translated to good numbers, but he does have swing and miss. He does have the ability to strike guys out.
You've seen Mashinsky come and go again, and the softball pitch. Yes, if he starts guys, a lot of guys that they've been using probably shouldn't be in the major leagues or only lucky to be in the major leagues because of all the influx of injuries that they've had. But with a guy like this, we saw this with Seth Martinez a couple years ago. If we start seeing him get into games and show that he can overpower some hitters or they to choose from other than their back end guys.
Yeah, I mean, to both of your points, it's very like in terms of like him being a top prospect in the past for so long, never lived up to that. Brian talking about how it's a move of desperation, which. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say. I think it's more just we have a guy who's on our 40-man roster that's available tonight, so we're going to call him up tonight. Like, there's a very real chance that Forrest Whitley is going to be up with the team today and tomorrow. Off day Thursday, Justin Verlander makes the start Friday, and he's the guy that's optioned back down to the minors. Like, that's the most realistic, scenario for Forrest Whitley. Maybe we see him back again later this year, but the only reason he's up isn't because, we love this guy, he's so good, he's going to come in and be our 4th best reliever. No, he's got an arm and he hasn't been, thrown into the ground yet, and he's available tonight and on the 40-man roster. Like, that's the realistic view on why the Astros are making this move. Not
paint of glass with his fastball and is trying to live on breaking pitches that you don't know if he can control, or taking a guy that's got above average fastball, and if he has just anything that can keep hitters off balance, no doubt about it, now's the time to throw him into the fire, because what you've seen of the guys that they've tried previous to this hasn't gone well. And because he's got a big arm, and if he can do anything for you at all, even if they – because I think you're right, even if they send him down. Now, if he shows he can get a guy – if he has a clean inning or, 1 or 2 – he's used a couple of times.
For the last couple of years. Like, last year he started a bit, but they moved into the pen, and he was doing, like, the whole piggyback thing. Like, they've given up on him as a starter, I think. 713-780-ESPN. Go ahead.
Overpowering type stuff, and he gets through an inning. Let's just make him a one or two inning guy, and let's just see how far we can ride him out.
Yeah, I think that's the plan, though. I mean, they've been saying that since the offseason. Like, we think that Forrest Whitley can be a piece in our bullpen. He's going to be a reliever. Forrest Whitley even did I can't remember where he said this. maybe a message since the offseason started. And he has the stuff, but he's got to put the stuff together because his numbers, like Brian said, are abysmal. 713-780-ESPN, HRMP listener line. What are your expectations, Killer Bees, on ESPN 97.5? A good drink at the end of the day. Vodka, gin, bourbon, all are in that rotation for me. And Gentle Bin Spirits does it better than anybody else in the game. How? You'll love what's now an undesirable acid, so you can enjoy your drink. Try a sip of Gentle Bin vodka, gin, straight bourbon, or cask-strength bourbon. Compare it to whatever you drink, and you will never go back. I'm telling you. Try some first sip, and I think all of you will be too. Smoother, go to the bar, ask for Gentle Bin, head to the Gentle Bin tasting room in Alvin. If you're going to an Astros game soon, maybe tonight, stop by Gentle Bin. They have a kiosk there just to the left of the Crawford boxes. Pick up some Gentle Bin on the way to your seats. Head over to gentlebin.com too, and you can order straight from the website, by the way. gentlebin.com, pick up a bottle or two today. Gentle Bin, period.
ESPN 97.
25 PR Dizzle. Maybe
No,
Likers.
stop that. Please stop that, P. Randizzle. Just stop. I don't think that, look, I think Hader's been proven in this league for enough years now that he knows about the most in this situation would be Hader. And I don't think Maldi or anybody else is going to change the outcome of what we've seen from Josh Hader. It's just location of pitches.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. Don't love spending $19 million to a guy who's not pitching very well. And to the texter earlier, that was, closures are only used in save situations. You know how many save opportunities he's had this year? Did you catch this on the broadcast? Twice.
I did not.
He's had two save opportunities all year. So what do you want to do? You want to pay a guy $19 million a year and then only use him twice
put him on
in 18
ice?
games?
Yeah, put him on ice. Come on.
What are we doing here? You're going to pay him $19 a year and you're going to use him twice in only save situations whenever you're 18 games in. No. You use them in tight games late. They use them in a tight game late. Not blaming a spotter for that. I'll blame a spotter for other things. And then simply, the guy's got to pitch better. Like, if you're going to be paid, so tell me this isn't okay. Well, the last sentence is the GM, not the manager. I'm not drawing conclusions. Like, there's some things I've seen with a spotter I don't love. There's been some things I've seen with a spotter that I don't mind. And also, I wanted Jeff Bannister. Joe Espada was second on my list, just for what it's worth, so you don't put words in my mouth. I'm not drawing conclusions on a first-year manager 18 games in.
No, I like so many Astros fans that he pointed out, and we will continue to do so when there are things to question. But at the same time, I don't think he's in over his head. I don't feel like that he's the reason for winning or losing. And right now, the amount of arms that they have to pull hairs and say somebody.
Yeah, I mean, there's things I don't like for that second inning. I don't love getting Abreu up, telling him to sit down, and then getting him up again. So there are some things I've noticed that I'm not a fan of, but 18 games in, not drawing any conclusions. 6-4-5-5, as long as he keeps Presley to close the game, if it comes to it, it's fine to use Hader. I mean, you're the home team in that spot, in the top half of the ninth or top half of the 10th or any extra inning, and then you have your closer for the bottom of the inning. You're at home. There's not a safe situation.
People don't want to look at and they don't realize is if you have the mentality that this guy is only going to be in safe situations, he's not going to pitch nearly as enough and be nearly as effective, and yet you're not going to get nearly the return on the investment for what you're putting forth for a guy that's a lockdown potential winnable game. And you want to give your team every chance to win at home in the bottom of the ninth. Could not agree with you more. Could not disagree. A little bit more pressure right now on everybody, whether they admit it or not, because of the slow start. And if you're in a game that has a chance to be winnable, then I'm totally fine with using your
bad. I think he's going through a little bit of a slump right now. 9723, what are your thoughts on Crane possibly being more weary about big-name free agent signings since the last two could be big flops?
Say that again?
Do you think Crane will be more wary of signing big-name free agents because the last two have been flops, Abreu and Hader?
You would hope that he has a little bit more reservation or maybe gets the general manager involved a little bit more than the other guys on his board of directors. I think that you called it best a few weeks ago. When we've seen this before, we all talked about it. That when you didn't have a general manager, but he got the majority of the credit for going out and pulling the trigger, writing the check for Justin Verlander. And when it worked out, he kind of got maybe a false sense of ability to say, "Oh, I can do this." I think maybe that was a little bit of I'm just guessing. He wanted to have his he's going to shoulder and down his neck.
Yeah, I think he will hesitate a little bit in terms of that. He's always been a little bit, he's always hesitated a little bit with big deals. I do think he becomes a little. Hadn't heard the news, so I googled it real quick. Ozzie Albies has a right great toe fracture.
Really? He stayed in the game. I mean, yeah, I didn't know that he actually.
They placed him on the IL. Yeah, he's.
The answer to the question is no.
I don't know, man.
Come on, man. Arrighetti didn't
intent.
No, but Jeremy,
but there's more to this. It's not only Albies, and I know that you have to pitch Acuna high and tight, but the Acuna got several
dirt that ends up hitting the guy in the big toe. I don't think there's a retaliation factor. The one that you mentioned previously, if you have a problem with a guy going high and tight, a young pitcher going high and tight a couple of times on your best player, that's a conversation I'm at least willing to have. But I'm not going to.
Yeah, teams have retaliated for a lot less than that, though. Like, baseball sensationalizes everything. Oh, you hurt our second baseman? Here you go, Jordan. Here you go. I'm going to dot you between.
Because of the fact that
I'd rather see a dot in the back than a buzz at the tower. A buzz in the tower might get away from you and hit the tower.
It depends on where it's placed, a message, and do exactly what was done to you. I disagree with the fact that there's retaliation for Arrighetti hitting Albies.
I wouldn't be shocked if Jordan gets hit tonight. Because you have to bust Jordan inside anyways. 713-780-3776. Let's go out to the HRMP listener line.
I think baseball, especially the Astros, is suffering from the fact that maybe 30 years ago, all the players played together in spring training, and now they let all these AAA, AA guys get time. They don't play together. I think kind of like the NFL where they stopped doing a lot of preseason games. You're seeing crap the first 2-3 weeks. I think the same thing's happening with the Astros. I think it's going to take some time. That's like an extended time for spring training, the first 3 weeks. And I think that all the pitchers, Ryan, Ferrari, you don't sign Maris, and you don't sign what's his name, the guy that had just the tiniest ERA, and Dusty didn't even use him in the playoffs. There we go, Stanek. To me, that's the difference. We would have won the first few.
Scrubs club, pretty good find.
Yeah.
Yep. I will say that, but at the same time, they're not, Neris. They're not.
No.
Probably even Maton. Martinez can be a Maton. But Neris was really good last year.
I hear look. I appreciate Dave listening and all of that, but I think that when you look at this team, it's not like it is in the NFL, and it's not guys that take the whole preseason off and then aren't ready to play. To me, when you look at this team and you look at what's wrong, we know how many injuries they have. We know that you didn't expect to have Fromber go down as well. You probably didn't expect JV to go down because it happened so late. He was. You knew that when it happened, there was a chance he might miss the opener. But at the same time, in the offseason, you were expecting him to be there. I don't put this on spring training or any of the stuff that he was mentioning. I put this on the fact that
I think there's some truth to it, though. I think there is some truth to what Dave. I do think that the first starters then relievers, but look at just a regular guy. Like, just take your average starting pitcher in baseball and look at his first 3 starts. There's 50 games into the year.
That's fine, but he's talking about the chemistry and everything. But they weren't like miserable at the plate. The biggest thing to me is, yes, there are pitchers that aren't going to go as deep into games, and they are still working on they're ramping up their arms. But I don't think it's like football when guys take off all of training camp and then they come in the first 2 weeks of the season and they're not nearly what they're going to be in their team. It's not about that. It's about the fact that the injuries have been killing them.
No, I think the starting pitchers early in the year, I think does tax your bullpen more. I would
Sure.
agree with what he said there, Brian.
I know. I'm just amazed how much credence you guys are giving this take. Every team in Major League Baseball has been under the same issue with maybe not using their guys as much.
But if you
as
have a
they
better
used to
bullpen, you can handle it better.
I guess, but look, Ronel Blanco threw a no hitter in his first game. Christian Javier had a shutout performance in his first game of the year. Like the idea that
Not
because
a complete game shutout.
Sorry.
Not a complete game.
I didn't
shutout.
say. I just said he in his appearance on the mound in Game 1, he shut out the opponent. I just don't buy the idea that it's just universally bringing the quality of baseball down and specifically hurting the Astros when you can point to at least Javier and Blanco having no problem through the first time through the rotation. Hell, Hunter Brown wasn't even that bad. They only went 4 innings in his first time. I don't believe he gave up a run in his first appearance either. So I don't buy the idea that they're just horribly hurt by spring training. They've just sucked. I mean, I think we could just say that. I think we're, by pointing at spring training and trying to make this universal point about how baseball is trending down because they don't play spring training like the way they used to, I think is grasping for straws and searching for answers when we could just say they've sucked.
He just seduced me with his voice, if I'm being honest. 713-780-ESPN HRP listener line. They did the exit interview and had some thoughts on the roster. How much does he like the roster, and what is he really saying? It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5. Mike Holly, you know him. He runs HRP. Chris Fisher over there. Great people at HRP. Mike, U of H class of 1990. Go Cougs. You know he's a great person. He used to protect a Heisman Trophy winner. Now he wants to protect your business. He's been doing it for nearly 25 years, so he's been doing it for a long time. HRP provides comprehensive human capital management services, including HR compliance, benefits administration, and payroll. HRP will also work with you to customize a plan for whatever you need. There's nothing cookie cutter about HRP. If you need a little help, you need a lot of help, any help in between, HRP will create a plan for what you and your business needs. Their customer service is second to none. You'll never talk to a stranger on the other side of the line, but like talking to your friends. You'll be calling someone that's familiar with you, familiar with your company. I can speak, of course, to that customer service. Anytime that I have a question, always get a quick response, always easy to understand. I'm more of an email guy. I fire off an email, quick response. I totally understand the message. They're open to phone calls, too, of course. I'm the weird one. Let HRP take on the demands of human resources and eliminate your HR burden so you can get back to growing your business. Give them a call at 281-880-6525 and let HRP customize a plan for you, 281-880-6525, or check them out at hrp.net. That's hrp.net.
You're locked in with the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
He's Blank, I'm Branham. We are the Bees on ESPN 97.5, ESPN 92.5. Rockets did an exit interview today. I don't think they've ever done that before. I don't think any organization in sports has ever done that before until our brilliant idea that we did yesterday. When we had our own exit interviews, they're like, oh, it's a great idea. Let's do our own. Rockets locked up Rafael Stone today to a multi-year extension. How do you like that move, Blankers?
And Eli Wittis.
Okay, I've never heard of him. Who cares about Eli Wittis?
Oh, you care. Believe me, you should care.
I've never heard of the guy.
Well, you should know that he's a guy that doesn't like all the attention, but he is the true analytics guy, and he crunches all the numbers and does all the things.
Eli Whitney, you said?
Wittis. W-I-T-U-S.
Never heard of the dude.
Well, he's like the Bill, what's his name? Furcus.
Furcus?
Furcus.
Furcus
for the
Sports
Astros.
Science.
We got Wittis and Furcus, and they're the numbers guys.
They sound like numbers guys, don't they?
Yep. They sure. Well, believe
Wittis
me.
and Furcus, like what would
I've
they do
worked
in their
with
life?
Eli.
Yeah.
Eli knows numbers. Doesn't know how to play basketball, and he doesn't like but he's good at what he does, so I'm glad they kept him.
Like, you hear the name Wittis and Furcus. What do you think they do all day? I think that they sit behind a spreadsheet all day. And it's probably what they do. I've never heard of Eli Wittis. Cool. I guess. I mean, that's good. I mean, you continuity, stuff like that. But what'd you think about Stone keeping his job?
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I had been tipped off a few weeks ago.
Why didn't you share it with us? Why didn't you share it to our listeners? Stop being privy to that information.
Because
not sharing
I won't
it to the
sell
hive.
out my sources until they tell me it's okay.
Fair enough.
But I knew that it was coming, and you can understand why. For the most part, the young guys have done enough. There was no shortage of guys that were wanting to get in and say, hey, I'd love to have that job. But I think Tillman's at a point now where he's still grooming Patrick, his son, to eventually, in their mind, be like Johnny Buss was with the Lakers. And they have visions of Patrick one day being the general manager. But for the time being, with the way things are going, and because they got the right guy as head coach, I think that you could see why Stone was going to get an extension. Because right now wouldn't be the time to shake it up, because you just got a situation with Udoka in year one, and you finally have some continuity. Don't blow that up right away after year one when you've had the success. So I understand it.
Yeah, I like the move. I like continuity when the arrow is pointing up. I think the arrow is pointing up on the Rockets, so totally cool with the continuity. Will Kunkel covers all Houston sports for Fox 26. I met him during the basketball tournament. He came up, gave me dab, and goes, "What's up, J-Bone?" I was like, "Oh, okay."
See you on Twitch or something?
I didn't know you rolled that way, Will, but I appreciate it. But anyways, he tweeted out earlier, Rockets GM Rafael Stone says he really likes their roster and are unlikely to go shopping for big names or pieces this offseason. I don't view our roster as we're missing X and need to go find it. What is Rafael Stone really saying? Because that's what we do. We don't give you the quote. All these guys are just giving you what you need to hear. Or they're giving you the coach speak. They're giving you the GM speak. What is he really saying whenever he says this?
To me, what he's really saying is no matter what you heard about what was discussed prior to us getting to this point right now with the trade deadline and Mikal Bridges and other guys, one, he's saying we really like our young roster, and two, he's saying we really feel like we got a lot of young talent. You're not prying anybody away from us at a discount rate because we're desperate to get a superstar. And so the message is sent, we like our young talent. We like the fact that they're being developed. And so if you're another team and you're looking to get a deal from us, it ain't happening. And if you're interested in one of our young guys, that is probably going to be coming at a premium price.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's something you got to do, though.
He's not. Yeah, I agree. He's not going to throw his team under the bus. So of course he's going to say this. I don't view our roster as we need all of this stuff and we like our players. So I mean, he's saying what anybody's going to say. If I'm telling you what I think he's really saying is kind of, I'm just going to echo what you said, that we like our roster. We do feel like it has a chance to be very, very good. But if there is a huge name that becomes available that we really like and we can get them on a not rip-off trade, then we would be willing to entertain those conversations. I don't really think it's going to happen this offseason. Like, some of the names have been thrown around as potentially being on the move. I don't think it's natural to make a trade with the Rockets. So they're going to listen. They're going to turn over every Rafael Stone, as they should, because it's their jobs as general managers in any sport. So I think they'll look, but ultimately I don't expect any big moves from this Rockets team this summer.
Are we just going to blow past Jeremy's joke there?
It was great.
Normally, I thought you guys had sound
great play
effects
on
for
words.
that kind of stuff.
No. Well, I should have I used to have the prices right, like loser horn, but it got taken out in one of the server switches.
I like that one.
Yeah, I'll get it back. But yeah, I'll grade the joke. I'll go 1.8.
It's been used before, but it wasn't. I mean, I'll give it a 2.5.
2.5. Okay.
I think it was way better than that.
Yeah.
Presentation was great. I didn't hesitate, waiting for y'all to laugh. I just blowed right through it. It's got to be an Easter egg. You got to be listening. It was subtle. Presentation was great. Joke might have been subpar, but presentation was excellent.
Actually, I thought the presentation was worse than the joke. You just blew right through it.
That's what you should do. You shouldn't never hold the pause because now you're like, oh, look at me, I'm funny. No, you just go right through it, and if somebody's paying attention, somebody's paying attention.
I think that's the sign of someone who knows it wasn't funny. If you're blowing right through it.
Disagree with you.
All right.
I think in terms of where they are too, they're not Oklahoma City, but let's just be real. On Oklahoma City, that's Sam Presti just cleared out every veteran, got every contract out of the way, did a whole bunch of favors for a whole lot of teams, and just decided the best way he can rebuild that club was to get as many draft picks as he possibly can. And the Paul George trade when he was unloading veterans turned out great because it got him Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Rockets maybe haven't discovered their Shai Gilgeous-Alexander yet, but trading right now to get a Donovan Mitchell, to get a big name that's a little older in their career too, would probably take away 2 to 3 of your young pieces that you've started to really see a lot of fruits of the labor of what you're doing with and where you took them from, to see that you want to see more. And the reason why we're talking about this team being better next year and chasing a playoff spot is because we saw enough development that we wanted to see at the start of the year. I wouldn't be willing to take 2 or 3 of those young guys off this roster right now because of what we saw at the end of the year and throughout the year in terms of the majority of them developing to where we wanted to see them get to.
No, I think you're waiting for a dude to demand a trade. I think that's what you're waiting for. And I mean like someone who's
Oh, you're talking from another team.
Yep. Yeah, and we don't even know who it is yet.
Right.
We're like it's the Harden thing.
Yes,
right?
it is.
It kind of pops up, and then you're ready to strike. And I think that the Rockets are ready to strike. The names that have been thrown around, I don't think are names that make a whole lot of sense. But there's going to become a contract situation. There's going to become a star that becomes unhappy at some point. I mean, it happens all the time in the NBA. I'm not telling you anything that no one already knows. And you have to be ready to strike. I think they are ready to strike, but if that doesn't come along, and I do feel they're content with their roster.
Yeah, the biggest thing is they have the assets to strike if they care to, but you're right. Look, you go down through history, Anthony Davis, Chris Paul. It happens all the time. Some of the biggest of big names that everybody thought, oh, he could never be traded. But all it's going to take is one guy to say, I'm done here, I'm out here, I don't want to be here. And teams are more likely now than they've ever been to say, okay, well, let me go check the market, see what the best options are, and see how we might possibly can turn this into being better or have a better future than overpaying or paying a guy that doesn't want to be here.
Yeah. Keith from L.A. wants to know how many guys that you've hit whenever you were playing. How many batters did you hit in your playing days?
Oh, my God. How do you try and keep a count on that? I mean,
3?
A lot more than that.
Can you count that high? 3?
Yeah, okay. Now I'm not Eli Wittis, but I think I can handle it.
You need to be a Wittis or a Furcus to count more than the one hand.
Blankus can get past 3. Thanks.
So what was the least egregious thing that you dotted someone up for?
It didn't take much.
I know. I could have told you that.
I was going to ask, since we now know that you're someone who uses the horn literally every single day.
Oh, I have. Yeah, the aggressive nature is there. I've had some. There's some great ones. There's some not. I mean, yeah. If a guy was the last at bat was talking to the umpire constantly and glaring out.
What?
Oh my God! I wasn't afraid to brush him back or send a message, and if I had to, I'd hit him. I don't care.
So you were definitely somebody that was going inside. If a pitcher the previous day broke your starting second baseman's toe, even with a breaking ball, a back foot slider, it sounds to me like you're someone who would go up and tight the next day.
Not over something like that. But if you came in and slid hard and took out my second baseman,
you said looking at the umpire too long.
No, if he's in the box, like bitching at the umpire and like making and bitching about every pitch or pitches the last at bat. Yeah, there's no doubt. I'm not afraid to send a message the next time he gets in the box. I'm not going to try and hit him the first time. I'm going to brush him back a little bit, send a message. But yeah, I mean, I'm not about that life for the hitters that think that they own the plate.
So you're standing up for umpires all over. You know, they look at the umpire too long.
I want the guy on my side, okay? If it also helps me indirectly that because he was bitching at the umpire, if I send a message the next at bat without even having to hit him, I think I got a better chance of the umpire going, okay, I like that.
I don't
Joe
think
Blank
so.
backs the blue.
I don't think so. I don't think that an umpire is going to get that message.
I don't care if you think it or not. All I know is I'd rather have the
So-
chance that I'm thinking that I'm doing something that helps me than hurts me.
So when you hit the guy in support of the umpire, would you look at the umpire and like pound your chest That's
No.
that one was for you, Blue.
No,
Wink
but
at 'em.
it's better than my catchers who would like to back away from or skip out on a pitch and let it hit the umpire. I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
You have a guy yelling balls and strikes at the umpire. Blankers goes high and tight and then yells, "Blue lives matter."
I
You
think
going to grade that, Joe?
That one was good, I think.
Actually, it was one that wasn't bad. I
pretty
just
good.
like to imagine that if the umpires had a rough game and the other team is getting on them, the umpire makes the call to the bullpen to bring Blankers in as the enforcer to start dotting some people.
He's the goon on the pitching staff.
I don't think I ever got to that status, thank you. But, yeah, look, we had a feisty team. You know, it's like you were talking about, though, Jeremy, with the Astros. Maybe if that happens – remember when the Rockets got hot? Remember what they were also doing that kind of really jump-started it too? They were fighting every night. If something like that is what they need right now to kind of change the momentum or fire them up, so be it.
Yeah.
So we need Fromber to come back and start hitting people again?
No, we just need Fromber to come back, period.
A wheat straw. Blankers is throwing at people, fighting at bars. I need to hang out with this guy. And then
there was a time where that was pretty frequent.
Someone
Both of
texted 10.0 joke. They gave me perfect marks.
That's a bit far.
Uncle Barney needs
That's
to
a bit
slow
far.
down.
It wasn't Uncle Barney. It was a Branham, though. It was me. How impactful is the Texans' culture? It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
You found the Killer Bees, live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
Cash it or trash it in 10 minutes. What are you cashing or trashing? 713-780-3776. Uncle Barney never texts the text line, by the way. Only texts me directly.
I assumed that.
He agrees with you more than he agrees with me. He always argues with me. He doesn't have great sports sense. He's like, yeah, Blankers is right.
Nice.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, doctor. He is a doctor. 713-780-ESPN. How impactful is this Texans culture? You know, we throw that word around a lot in sports. I do think it carries great weight. I believe in culture. I'm a believer in that. I think all good teams have good culture. I shouldn't say that. I don't think all good teams have culture. I think all great organizations, programs have culture. I think you can win without good culture every now and then, but not like sustainable winning. Here was Will Anderson yesterday addressing the media, talking about, you know, this Texans culture is good. There's a lot of players around the league that do want to play for the Texans, do want to play with D'Amico, but everybody's not cut out for it.
Texas ain't for everybody, man. It's just it's a different type of DNA you have to have to play here, man. It's a different type of character you have to have, and you just gotta love football, man. And I think, you know, the front office and coach, they do a really good job of choosing the guys that they want to be in here, that, you know, can help change the culture and help keep uplifting the culture and, you know, being a positive impact not only on the building but in the locker room as well.
So it's not for everybody, Blankers. How impactful is this culture that DeMeco Ryans has instilled in the building at on Kirby? I
mean, it's a discussion you and I have had previously, and my biggest thing is it's not going to be the difference that an extra digit on the dollar sign, on the contract would make for anybody, but at the same time, it's going to be a factor when you're trying to recruit guys to this organization, because in the past you look for where this organization has come from. They were the laughing stock of the league. They were the laughing stock from a coaching perspective, from a player's perspective, from a roster and front office perspective. It was a joke. It was a bleep show. And all of a sudden, now you are going to be in conversations, in negotiations, because players are going, I want to play there, as opposed to keep me away from there, but if they're going to throw ridiculous money at me, I'll consider it, to where now you've got a totally 180, if you will, of everybody going, you know what? If the money's the same or close, sometimes maybe even close, I want to play there because I want to be in that locker room, in that environment, because I like what they're building and how they're going about their business. I think it's refreshing. It's something that I had hoped that happened. I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly, no matter who they brought in. But I think it can only be a positive for the franchise.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the culture. It's crazy because this is a bit of a, I don't think it's a reach, but it's dating back a few years. Because the whole O'Brien Easterby thing was about culture, right? Mm-hmm. Like getting people who were smart, who were tough, and were dependable. You could say the same things about DeMeco Ryans, right? So, why can one regime do it, but the other regime can't? I think it's the follow-through. Because I think it's very easy to say those things, but it's very, very difficult to say those things and then act that way every single day and be consistent with those things. And I think that's where DeMeco is really good.
You hit on it, though, Jeremy. It's the fact that it's the follow-through, but it's also the trust and the consistency in the way you do it. You can't be a Jack Easterby and you preach over and over culture, but then you're going to let Brandon Cook slide. And you're going to do some things where, he might be one of your guys, or for whatever reason, you're not going to do it one time, but then you're going to want to do it the next time and you're going to preach culture. The fact with DeMeco.
What did Cooks do, though, where he deserved to be, suspended or anything?
Oh, there were times we heard about it. There was the locker room things, the pouting on the field things.
He definitely pouted, but the locker room defended him whenever he was gone.
But I'm saying that's one of those guys that Jack. I'm just using his reference. Jack, that was one of his guys. I think.
But they cut guys like Cunningham and McKinney. They benched Reed for a game.
I'm just saying overall, you have to. There's a trust level that goes with it too. Jack had a lot of moves that were questioned. A lot of people that questioned whether he even knew ball because of the fact that his background didn't say that he ever was, in depth in football decisions and football operations. Even his Belichick said so. But when you get a guy like DeMeco that's going to walk the walk and talk the talk, and from day one he's not going to change and waver and stop being who he is, and then you see the success on the football field and you see it translate to what he did in San Francisco with developing lower round picks into some really good players, and also the fact that since he took over the job, you could feel see a total difference in the roster and everything that went with it on a day-to-day basis. You talk to guys in the league, it's not the joke show that it was with the coaches and the Easterby factors previous. It's guys that got their bleep together, that are doing it the right way, that it's easy to buy into, and you're not going to get screwed over by.
Yeah, and I think that people believe him too. The reason they believe him is because of his actions. They don't care what coaches say. They couldn't care less what they say. But do they act on what they say, and are they believable? And I think that DeMeco is. That's why I think the arrow is pointing up in this organization. And look, maybe next year isn't. Maybe you're not competing for a Super Bowl next year. Maybe you lose in a wild card round. But I do think that this DeMeco Ryans era, C.J. Stroud era, I do think that you're going to be a winning football team year in, year out. You're going to be a fixture in the AFC as one of the top teams. Maybe you never get to the mountaintop. Maybe you never get to the Super Bowl. But I'm bullish with where this organization's at, mainly because of DeMeco. Secondly, because they have the quarterback. And if you have quarterback and you have coach in the NFL, you're going to be really, really, really good, no matter what, really. Look at Kansas City.
But think about Jimmy Johnson.
Tyreek Hill and go back-to-back.
Think about Jimmy Johnson's theory all the time, too, was you got to have a coach, you got to have a coach, a quarterback, and a defense. And the fact is you got a coach, you got a quarterback, and now you got a hell of a lot better defense than you had a year ago with all the guys you've
I think
added.
the defense stuff is antiquated, though. Like, I don't think you need a defense as much now as you used to. I'd
Not
much rather
in the-
have an offense than a defense.
Not in the pecking order chain. It doesn't have to be at the highest of levels, but at the same time, you still got to stop people, and you still have to have guys that can make a difference to alter the way offenses are running things and the way that you can't let an offense run roughshod on you. And the fact that he now has 3 legitimate pass rushers and a linebacker that he's worked with in the past that seems to be better at doing all the things in his defensive schemes, and you're adding guys that have made this defense better, and there's still opportunities to do that with the draft. I think that it doesn't have to be one of your top 2 priorities, but I think that a defense that can stop people is part of the overall equation to taking that team to the levels you're talking about.
Yeah, 713-780-ESPN. How important is that culture for the Houston Texans? 713-780-3776. Cash it or trash it with the Bees. What hot takes, what overreactions do you have? Do you want us to cash or trash? We got our hot takes as well. It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Hey, right now I want to welcome our newest sponsor to the ESPN family, and that's Bull Shirts. I know Bull Shirts very well because in my previous life, in my previous job, I knew if there was any company that I had to reach out to or that our organization had to get to so that we needed something done, whether it be all the T-shirts for one of the nights in the playoffs or one of the giveaway nights, or all the different accessories from the golf tournament to the promotional items like hats and koozies and cups and mugs, it was always going to be Bull Shirts. It's a one-stop shop for anything you may need in large quantities or even smaller quantities, from screen printing to embroidery to promo items. They take care of you every step of the way. They're local. They're going to be even better at what they do because you don't have to worry about being shipped across the country. You know all the shipping problems that have been out there lately. They are trusted by your true professional major league teams in this city. They should be trusted by you too. For your business, for your parties, for your family reunions, if you need T-shirts, if you need promotional items, if you need just about anything as a giveaway or a cool gift, you got to check out Bull Shirts. Their website is bull-shirts.com, but you got to go check them out because there's no other place I recommend. They're the best in the business. They have guaranteed top-notch quality and service. They've been in business since 1980. Over 40 years for servicing Houston with all the best in items and gear. Check them out today. It is bull-shirts.com.
He's Blank on Branham. Time for Cash 'em or Trash 'em. What are we cashing? What are we trashing? Blankers? Age before beauty.
By May 1st, J-Lo will be on this squad playing first base, and Joey Loperfido means that John Singleton is gone. Mr. Abreu is to the bench for the time being, and Joey gets his shot by May 1.
There's a lot going on here because you had multiple.
I did.
You kind of it was more of a domino effect. So J-Lo is here May 1st, and Singleton's the guy that gets DFA'd.
Yep.
I'm going to trash it.
Trash.
I want it to be true. I would love for this to be the case, but I don't think if he's up by May 1st, I don't think it's because they get rid of Singleton. I think if he's up by May 1st,
would it be
it's because of injury.
So it wouldn't change if I said, okay, Gray Kessinger.
Well, definitely not Gray
set
Kessinger.
down.
Like, they need positional flexibility.
But you got Doobie.
Yeah, but if he's in the starting lineup, then what do you got?
Well, that's true. If he's in the starting lineup, it's different.
And he's supposed to start quite a bit. So, like, you can't carry 3 first basemen. I know Loperfido has positional flexibility; he can play the outfield, but you're not gonna have J-Lo come up, and then you're carrying 2 backup first basemen. So, like, I'm going to trash it because I think the only way he's up is if there's an injury on this one. So, trashing that, I think that your scenario could happen, but I think it would be more June 1st than May 1st. So I'll nitpick the date a little bit and trash this.
You know that Jose Abreu could get about a week back, and then they'll post-date it and make sure that he has to be on the IL
well, that's
with
not
a
what
back.
you said. You said
no,
they're
I know,
waiving
but I'm just saying that injury could happen. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, that's different.
No, I'm not trying to justify it for my take on that.
Okay,
I'm saying that's also a possibility. We've seen it before, that maybe he's just so bad that they'll blame it on his back again and sit him down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if we're going with the injury angle,
No, we're not. We're
okay.
not. My
okay.
take is
so
what
we're
it is.
taking the injury off. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
Trash.
I'm gonna have to trash it. I can't see them DFAing Abreu by May 1st. Like the Loperfido part, I could see that happening May 1st. I still think it's June, but I could see it as possible, especially since Loperfido has some positional flexibility and can help out in multiple places. I just can't see them completely moving on and eating salary for a player not on the roster by May 1st with Jose Abreu.
A man can dream, right?
I side with Jeremy in the fact that I'd like it to be true. I just don't think they're going to completely cut bait with Jose Abreu before May 1st.
Yeah. Well, that's not what he said, though. He didn't. He said Abreu would be on the bench.
Yeah,
Oh,
I did.
I'm sorry. I thought I heard
did.
DFA.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I heard
Side
He said
DFA.
that
this.
Singleton would be DFA'd, and that
Oh,
J-Lo would take
Singleton
a spot.
DFA'd.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm still going to trash it. Yeah.
Trash.
I'm not shocked.
All right, my cash 'em or trash 'em. Framber Valdez's injury has nothing to do with throwing the baseball, and Framber Valdez's injury is because he hit it on something. What do we know about Framber's injury? We know that he went to Arlington after he started, okay? Like, if you're feeling something in your elbow, you're probably going to feel it after the start. We know that he, reported the injury the day before he started, which, as we know, and Blankers knows because he used to pitch, what are you doing the day before a start? You're playing soft toss. Yep. Like, you're barely throwing the baseball. So his elbow became inflamed after soft toss, which is after his actual bullpen day between starts. That's very weird. What else do we know about the injury with Framber Valdez? We know that he came home to Houston immediately. We also found out that he didn't undergo an MRI. Remember, Joe Espada said that he underwent imaging that showed inflammation but did not receive any news about the Valdez elbow ligament? Okay, that's weird. You would think a pitcher would need imaging on his left elbow when he's a lefty whenever he's complaining about it, right? Is the UCL intact? Well, he underwent imaging, but it wasn't an MRI. What does that mean? It means an X-ray. Maybe they're looking at a crack in the elbow. I have a theory that Framber Valdez's elbow injury has nothing to do with throwing, but it was a brunt, like a blow to the elbow. Maybe he hit it funny. That's
Champagne
my cash
bottle?
I don't think they're celebrating anything in April, but yes, along those lines with Lance McCullers. Yep. I think he hit his elbow. They were making sure that it was not broken, and it had nothing to do with the UCL, because if it did, he would have underwent an MRI.
I'm intrigued by this, but at the same time, as a Major League Baseball franchise, how in the world do you not have an MRI?
Because
no matter what,
because it wasn't a UCL. It was a hit to the elbow. That's why.
But even if you have something that, I'm just saying, from a professional sports team doing their due diligence, even if you knock your elbow and there's a crack or a bone, something with a bone, which is an X-ray, You probably still do the MRI.
Yeah.
You're not worried about the cost of it, just to make sure everything is intact structurally there too.
Yeah, I'm actually with Joel.
That's more credibility to my argument, though.
I'm not I'm not pooping on your argument.
I'm saying that you're actually helping me prove my
Right.
point.
No,
because if it was anything at all that could have been that way, they would have done the MRI. Why didn't they?
Right.
Because he hit it.
That's what I'm saying, though. I'm not trying to crap on you.
No, I know. I'm saying that you're adding credibility to my argument.
What's frustrating to me is an organization that overuses the word discomfort, but then also doesn't explore every possibility of what the discomfort's coming from would really bother me too. And I hope that's not the case, but it sounds like it may be. But you know what? I'm going to cash it because I think that there's a possibility, and I'm hoping for it because I don't want him to be out long term, and I want it to be something that has nothing to do with the structure of the things that he needs to throw the baseball. So I will cash it because I believe it's possible.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to cash this as well. I think Jeremy is on to something, and I'm on your side on this as well, Joel, that for a Major League Baseball team, even if Fromber, hits it on a counter, hits it, in the dugout, whatever happens along Jeremy's theory, even if that's the case, if we know it's him hitting something, it's not from throwing, yeah, what is the cost of an MRI to
They're not worried about
the
that.
Houston Astros? Yeah,
right.
I mean, just get an MRI just to make sure that more damage besides possible bone damage wasn't done when said hit of the elbow happened. So I would be a little disappointed that they didn't get the MRI anyway. But I definitely think, as Jeremy lays out the timeline and the lack of an MRI, that it definitely lends some credence to the idea that this was not sustained pitching.
The timeline is too fishy in this whole deal. He's reporting it the day after he starts when you're playing soft toss. Joe Espada confirmed imaging, but said he didn't hear any news about the ligament. We thought that was really weird. And then he said later, Fromber did, that he didn't have an MRI. This is not the UCL. This is to see if there's an X-ray. And what else did they say? What else did they say? Top of the elbow. What do you do at the top of the elbow sometimes? Sometimes you bang it down on things. Like, they said it wasn't the inside. They said it was the top. Fromber Valdez, they were worried that he broke a piece of bone in his elbow. They were never worried about the UCL. And the lack of MRI, it's not a conspiracy. The lack of the MRI confirms my theory.
Damn those stairs and those dugouts. I mean, first he sprains an ankle. Now he probably slipped down them again, and this time he whacked his elbow on the stairs.
Yes.
How did Fromber hit his elbow? Wrong answers only. 713.
I am wearing a tinfoil hat as I say this, too.
I don't think you even need to wear the tinfoil hat.
Now, can you pitch with a cracked bone? As long as it's just the bone, can you pitch with a cracked bone in your elbow?
I doubt it.
Seems ill-advised.
It doesn't seem like a great idea.
I mean, you're the pitcher.
I'd be very relieved if it was just a bone issue that you're dealing with and you know what you're feeling as opposed to ligaments and things that are important.
It would seem shorter term for sure.
Yes,
he was
that
tossing.
too. I hope you're right.
He was tossing yesterday, too. So, the imaging was probably good news. All right, Brian, what do you have? What do you catch?
I don't know if I could follow it up, Jeremy. I think
I've had a lot of thoughts on this conspiracy.
I feel like
Lots
we should
of thoughts.
I think you should have asked for the breaking news. I think you just solved it. But I guess I'll soldier on and go ahead and give my hot take. So I think a week from today, the first round of the NFL draft is going to happen. And I think we've spent a lot of time, or at least mock drafts have spent a lot of time talking about how many wide receivers, first-round wide receivers there could be in this draft. And I think they're actually going to set a record for the most wide receivers taken in the first round. The record right now is 7. It was in 2004. And as I'm looking at this year's draft, Daniel Jeremiah has 6 guys projected in his top 32 as far as just the pure draft rankings, not a mock draft, but pure draft rankings. Lance, in his latest mock draft, had 6 wide receivers go in the first round. And you got guys outside of the first round like Xavier Worthy, a few others like Keon Coleman. It only takes, I think, 1 or 2 guys to maybe go higher than we expect, a few guys to climb boards. Tebow was a first-round pick. It only takes 1. I think you have 1 or 2 go higher than you expect, and I think you're going to end up with 8 wide receivers in the first round and set a new record for the first round of the NFL draft.
Everything I've seen, I was looking at this the other night a little bit, but I've seen 6. 6 has always been, and you think about 4 quarterbacks minimum.
I mean, the record's 7. I'm thinking 8.
To break it, you got to have 8.
Yeah,
I mean, if you go 8 and 4 quarterbacks and 12 guys are already taken up by quarterback and wide receiver, I'm going to trash it simply because I think that they might tie the record. I think 6 is legitimate, but I don't think they can get to 8.
Yeah, I'm going to trash it too. I think they tie it. Tie it is my number. So I'll go with 7.
Lad McConkey going to make that run?
Yeah, Lad McConkey, Xavier Worthy, I think are a couple guys.
You know why I don't think it's going to break is because there's going to be insane value for defensive players late in the first round. And you're going to have these teams that are like, oh, man, these defensive players are usually like mid-first-round talents, and they can't pass up on them, and they're not going to be willing to trade down. So I don't think it quite gets there. I think you see an early wave of that like second, third-tier receiver, though, in the second round, like early second round.
Yeah, I think the late run is going to be on corners and things when they do have all the quarterbacks and a lot of the wide receivers go early.
Yeah. Here's a few of the texters, cash-ems, or trash-ems. From mid-May to the end of the year, Hader will have a sub-2.4 ERA. That's from Eric the Driver.
I would cash that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll cash it, too, because we're doing radio in Houston, doing opposite.
I believe that.
Like
I totally
idea.
believe that.
I mean, he's definitely capable. He's one of the better relievers in all of baseball. He just hasn't pitched to it. I'll cash it. Brandon T, cash your trash. Lance McCullers will have over 6 wins this year.
Trash that.
Yeah, that's an easy trash.
Is he going to get 6 starts this year?
That's
Even
the
if
question.
he does, he ain't winning all of them.
What would you set the number at?
Starts or
Wins?
Wins. Lance McCuller wins. If you were Vegas
3.
and you were setting the number, what would you set it at?
See, I would have said 2.5. So
3.
we're right along the same.
Yeah, we're all on the same page. I would have said 2.5 too. So yeah, 6 is insane. 6 would be giving away money.
What's the number if you just say how many starts is he going to get this year?
Might be 6.
I would say 5.5.
Yeah.
When do we think he's coming back?
August 1.
I think it's definitely after the All-Star game
too, right? Like even if you go August 1, let's just say you play 28 games a month. So you're looking at August. How many months you have left? August, September. That's only 2 months. That's like 56 games when he comes back. If it's a 5-man rotation, I don't think he gets. I think he gets like 6 starts.
I think 5 or 6
maximum.
is the maximum amount he gets.
If he comes back August 1st, he might be able to get to 10 actually.
Yeah, the math would be for that. I'm trying to remember exactly when he came back the last time, because he came back the last time sometime in August and got 8 starts.
Yeah, it was in August.
But I don't remember what part of August it was.
To me, they always borderline on precaution too.
And they might be in a 6-man rotation at that point.
I think
so
he
that
gets
changes
6
the math
starts,
too.
and he's lucky if he gets 3 wins.
Yeah, 3 wins going to be tough. Yeah, he got 8 starts, 4 wins in 2022, which, I mean, it's actually really good. He actually had 2.27 ERA. We forget that Lance McCullers, whenever he pitches, is really good.
I don't think I forget that. I think
no, not necessarily you.
Oh.
I'm just talking about people in general. Like, people are so dismissive of Lance McCullers, and it's like, okay, I get it. He's always hurt, but whenever he is on the mound, big if, he's always been efficient. I don't believe Alex was sick. He needed time to rethink his hitting approach. Cash or trash?
I'm going to trash that.
Trash.
I think that there were reports, Julia and others, that had said that he was feeling sick on the road, and when he came back, it didn't get better, it got worse, and that they were surprised one day he even walked in. So I'm a good conspiracy there, but not good enough. I'm going to trash it.
No, I'm trashing this one too. I do love his approach a lot more yesterday than I did prior to his illness. So whatever he got, it was a good thing. But he didn't fake an illness.
Probably ate some
Alex
of that.
Bregman's a gamer too. Like he plays through injuries.
Yeah.
He plays whenever he's scuffling. He hates days off. He wouldn't go home for 3 days.
He hates it, but he'll take one. He's not going to take multiples back to back. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not buying that one either.
Probably ate some of that trash Kansas City barbecue and got sick.
Yeah, the burn ends were bad. Ugh. All right, 713-780-ESPN. That's it for Cash It or Trash It. D'Amico provided some clarity on a couple of positions that have questions for the Texans, like left guard, like defensive tackle. Is it the clarity we want? It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Live in the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Killer Bees. Now back to Joel and Jeremy.
He's Blank. I'm Branham. We are the Bees on ESPN 97.5, ESPN 92.5. Everybody's guessing what Framber banged his elbow on. What did Framber bang his elbow on to break his elbow? Almost break his elbow. Forced him to get X-rays, but not MRIs. 713-780-3776. What did Framber bang his elbow on that forced him to get an X-ray, but not an MRI? I shouldn't say X-ray. We don't know X-ray for sure. We know it was imaging.
Imaging, right.
We know it was imaging. Those are the facts tell us that it was imaging. But the facts also tell us it wasn't an MRI. Is there? I'm not very smart. We all know this. Are there other things you can do for imaging that isn't an X-ray or an MRI?
I don't.
Doctors, weigh in. 713-780-3777.
I mean, I don't know for the I mean, there's things like CAT scans, but you wouldn't do that for the elbow.
No. Maybe Framber's elbow, though. Maybe that's the issue. His head's in the wrong spot.
We took a CAT scan on his elbow. We didn't see anything.
I mean, our mind being in the wrong spot has been hurting men for generations. 713-780-ESPN. Framber banged his elbow on the locker, putting on his jersey. He wouldn't be wearing a jersey the day before his start. He'd be wearing that little pullover. Framber got hurt by Correa's masseuse. Maybe. I think a masseuse would probably work on a pitcher's left arm. I think that's fair. Like, I think it's in play here. It's just as much in play as Carlos Correa breaking his rib that way.
Well, maybe the masseuse was rubbing something. And you know how sometimes when you are – never mind, I shouldn't make the comparison.
You don't say the words rubbing something and then fade out.
You know, sometimes how, like, when you're petting your favorite pet and you reach the spot and all of a sudden non-voluntary movement and he whacked it on something. Easy. I said it.
Ultrasound, sonogram. He's not having an ultrasound or a sonogram on his elbow.
Is he pregnant?
Well, that's what's in the elbow. I've had I don't want to say this. I've had an ultrasound before. I promise you that I've never been pregnant. I've never been pregnant. They do ultrasounds for other things, not just pregnancies. 4485 on the edge of the kitchen counter. He was on the road, but maybe they have kitchens in their suites. I don't know.
I don't think they're at an Embassy Suites or whatever. But
yeah, probably not. Where did Framber bang his elbow on? Banged his elbow getting drunk and slipped backwards and hit it on the ground. Okay, that's a theory. I hope he's not getting drunk 2 games before his start, but maybe. 3062, I can tell you it wasn't a treadmill.
Wow. Well, why not?
Man.
He's in better shape this year.
Yeah, Framber looks a lot better. Framber looks in great shape. I think the Astros pitching staff was on Ozempic this offseason, by the way. Between Framber and between Christian Javier, you telling me they weren't on Ozempic during the offseason?
There's another one, too. There's another name for it, but the Chuckster was doing his show with Gayle King, and he's on the – is it over?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
It's canceled.
Well, the one night they did this whole thing with Oprah and everything, and Charles was like, yeah, man, I'm on it. I lost 75 pounds. I can't get it. And Adam Silver was the next guest, and he goes, time out. Before we get into anything with the NBA and basketball, did you just say you can't get an over-the-counter drug that everybody that he's like, yeah, they won't give it. He's like, I find that really hard to believe.
Osho says Framber's elbow was hit by an errant foul ball from Abreu during batting practice. I doubt it. I don't think Abreu's even touching batting practice fastballs. He was trying
to the joke.
He was trying to ride a hoverboard and busted his blank/elbow. My brother almost had his foot amputated on one of those motorized scooters that you can see in like big cities.
Uh-huh.
He hit like a pothole or whatever, which, you know, you need to fix those potholes. Third Rock Renewables. He hit a pothole the wrong way on one of those scooters, and he almost had to have his foot amputated. Just something to keep in mind on that. Sorry to make it a little bit morbid. 9497, he was wrestling and then the people's elbow on his opponent. The brunt force on a people's elbow isn't going to cause a fracture in the elbow, would it?
I don't know. It was good enough to get the 1-2-3 on Cody Rhodes WrestleMania Saturday.
There you go. Dusty in Mont Bellevue, Framber looked at his recent outings and hit his funny bone. He was fine in his previous start. That one doesn't add up. That conspiracy doesn't add up.
But you know how guys like to was it the Bucks a couple of years ago that during warm-ups and stuff they imitated the WWE and did the takedowns and everything and maybe that he and the guys in the locker room after watching the Monday Night Raw or whatever started to go through some of the motions and he whacked it on a table.
Yeah. I mean,
elbow drop through the table. I could see it. And maybe Framber's extreme.
He's at the top of the clubhouse locker.
They were treating it like a Hell in a Cell match. He came off the top and went through the table.
It was on the pregame spread. 9780. Framber banged his elbow on Jose Abreu's bat first barrel that Abreu's found all year.
That's fantastic.
Oh, man.
Tweet of the day so far?
Fromber high-sided on a motorcycle. What is that? You just go up and over? I'm not a big
I have no idea.
motorcycle enthusiast. I would imagine that's what it is, right?
Maybe
You go too
sounds
far
right.
over? I don't know what a high-sided on a motorcycle is. Sorry to.
I think that, like, if you're turning and you kind of get too upright with your body when the motorcycle's on a tilt, that it can slide out from under you.
Apparently, no. It looks like you actually go. Okay, Google Images telling me two different things. Yeah, I'm not real sure. Like, it shows two different images. It shows one guy, what you're talking about, and then it shows another guy going over the handles. So
Okay.
I would think it's more yours, though. But Google Imaging is not really helping me here. 713-780-ESPN. What did Fromber Valdez bang his elbow on to undergo imaging but not an MRI? It's my conspiracy theory. He tried to take Chaz's pudding. I don't think Chaz is getting his pudding anymore. 8437, same joke. Fromber banged his elbow on the clubhouse fridge trying to sneak one of Chaz's banana puddings.
Is there something we can incorporate with the fact that he changed the hairstyle, got rid of the extensions and the beads, and that maybe he was
Could have been changing his hair out.
Yeah, or using the hairdryer to try and get a quick dry and whacked it on the wall in the hotel.
Maybe. What is like sometimes whenever these situations happen and we're trying to play detective and put two and two together, you kind of have to think about your own instances. So like when were times that you banged your elbow, like wherever, on a table, on a wall? Like when do you bang your elbow?
There's a lot of them. I think in the kitchen a lot when you're going from like the sink to the counter to the stove, and if you're like cutting stuff up, I think you can do it. I've had experience with guys, professional athletes that quote unquote did it. I think that's why. I think like if you're in the garage and you're going to get like something to do for like trimming the bushes or doing something in the yard, and you turn real quickly trying to grab something, and we've got shelves, you can hit it on the shelves.
Yeah, I think I did. I think the last time that I banged my elbow was like coming out of the shower. Like we have one of those. It's not a bathtub. What do we call it? Where it's just like a one-man shower. I don't know what you call them, but whenever you open the door,
yeah.
it's kind of tight
shower
quarters.
only?
Yeah,
Yes.
shower only.
It's just shower only.
Is that what it's called?
I think it's
shower only.
Yeah.
So we have a shower only, and then we have like the big tub next to it, but it's not together. So like whenever I came out of this has been a couple of weeks ago, I guess. I opened the door and like I was just trying, tight quarters, looking for the towel, banged my elbow on the wall. I think it's the last time that I did it. Maybe he did that, and he was also staying in a hotel, so it's like foreign territory where I think accidents happen more often on foreign territory because you're not familiar with your surroundings.
It's possible. Yeah, I think that's for sure. When you know this. I mean, you stay in enough hotels. I mean, that's always a possibility. Look, there could be a guy that's delivering the bags, and you could turn around in the lobby and hit it on one of those big luggage rack things that they wheel around too. So there's a plethora of ways he could get hurt.
713-780-ESPN 6455. Found out we got digs and hung out with Bill's Mafia and jumped on a table that was on fire.
There you
go. Banged up elbow is probably minor on things. 3062. He was lightheaded. That's probably possible. 5273 due to the offense. Fromber banged his elbow in a trash can to get the offense going. Don't text us that stuff. We're not going to read jokes like that.
I like it.
713-780-3776.
It's a walk-in shower, Brian, by the way.
Walk-in shower.
That's the technical term.
Walk-in shower. Hotel doors are spring-loaded, too. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Fromber doesn't know the difference between Tommy John and hitting his funny bone. Okay, that's an intelligence joke. He's calling. You know what he's doing?
Maybe the Astros medical staff doesn't either for as long as they've taken with injuries.
That texter is calling Fromber Valdez low S2E, is what he's doing. He's calling Fromber low S2E. 713-780-3776. Let's go back out to the HRP listener line. Charles, you're in the hive of the bees. What's up, Charles?
Yeah, hey, guys.
Hey.
Go, Charles.
I was just calling just a few minutes ago. You guys were kind of trying to figure out what high siding on a motorcycle was. That's all I was calling about. So low siding is when you're kind of taking a turn too sharp and the bike slides off underneath you, but high siding is where the bike catches and then catapults you over the top. So that would be absolutely catastrophic. So I hope that's not what happened to his arm.
Yeah, I don't think it is because he's moving around. Thank you, Charles, for the clarification. Appreciate you calling in. That's what the Hive does. We ask and they deliver. Thank you, Hive. We have the best listeners, the smartest listeners, and very well-versed listeners. Very versatile.
I almost high-sided a treadmill a couple weeks back and sued Lifetime.
How would you go over the top of a
Oh,
treadmill?
it's possible when they have a power outage.
Be an athlete, Blankers.
Okay, you try to be an athlete, Jeremy. You try and be running on the treadmill and have the power go out and the belt just stop, and tell me that you're not going to be thrown towards the front of the treadmill with a chance to go all the way over.
I wouldn't be thrown over the treadmill with a chance of being thrown over.
I think that was Blinker's.
Because you wouldn't be going that fast.
I think that was Blinker's actually trying to humble brag how fast he
No.
runs.
Because there's a couple of my buddies that we found out later they had 4 power outages that morning. You didn't think after the first one it might be good to say either people stay off the equipment or at least be aware of this? That's some scary stuff.
Wait, they have 4 power. What are your gym dues going for?
It was the weather.
Okay.
The weather was really bad.
Man, my gym dues back.
Yeah, when you're not expecting it and all of a sudden the belt just stops, yeah, that can be a problem.
Were you clocking yourself? How fast were you running? What were your MPH?
At 6.5.
You have to run to do that?
I'd like to see you do 6.5 for a period of time.
713-780-ESPN. What did Fromber bang his elbow on? We'll get to the Texans conversation, too, providing clarity on the positions that maybe are a need for the Texans. It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Hey, before we go to the break, I'll tell you again about my good friend Doc Linville. Doc Linville, he knows what he's doing. He does a ton of stuff. I mean, if you think you might be starting to thin out and lose your hair, he's got PRP treatments where you don't have to do anything more than go in a couple of times a year. And basically, it's like basically enriching the blood under the scalp, and the hair gets stronger, and it develops quicker, and it grows better because of the fact that it's kind of helping. It's like fertilizer for your lawn. If you have already, it's too far gone. If you already have bald spots and thinning that you don't think is coming back and PRP can't help, there's always the NeoGraft procedure. And the NeoGraft procedure is just taking it to the next level. It's taking hair from areas of your head that you're never going to lose it. And genetically, Doc explained it to me. You're never going to lose the hair on the sides and the back of your head, no matter how bald you go in other areas. He takes some of that, puts it where you need it, where you're having the trouble growing any more hair. And it gets stronger and longer, and it grows, and it stays, and it's phenomenal, and the results are unbelievable. The fact is 95 to 99% of all the follicles that Doc can move are going to stay and grow and be with you for the long haul. And since he's taking it from an area where you're never going to lose it, you're going to have it for the rest of your life. It's fantastic. I did it. I couldn't be happier with it. That's why I tell you about it on a regular basis. Because if you're losing your hair and you don't want to dabble with all the stuff that just cover and mask the problem, like the sprays and the creams and the foams, the NeoGraft procedure is for you, and PRP could be too. Check it out today because you can go to 975hair.com and learn all about everything that Doc Linville can do for you. And then you can set up a free appointment and a consultation with Doc and his staff that normally costs $150 for people off the street. You listen to us. You heard me talk about him. You get the consultation for free. Go in, ask questions, get it explained to you. See if it's right for you too. If it is, you will never regret the fact and be disappointed in the fact that you did because it works. Granado's had it. I've had it. We can't stop talking about how great it is. You might be the next in line. Check them out today. Go to 975hair.com.
You're listening to the Killer Bees with Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios.
Should we reward meanness or wait till Friday?
It's up to you.
I asked you guys.
Go ahead. Say it.
Reward
Say
it.
yes?
Reward it.
Yes, reward it.
This jerk said the only time Branham goes 6.5 is to the buffet line. I haven't been to a buffet in days.
Days. Oh. When did they bring them back
days,
officially?
Buffets?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about since COVID?
Yeah, since COVID. A lot of them went out. The sweet tomato and all those. There were some good ones that just completely never came back. I know Golden Corral and what's the other one? CC's. And
Oh, yeah, CC's Pizza.
Yeah. Do they ever even close?
I don't know.
Man, I would be shocked if a place like Golden Corral never even closed.
I think they did the servings for you, though. You couldn't help yourself.
I've never been to a Sweet Tomatoes. I've been to, what is it, Super Salad?
Super Salads
yeah,
used
way
to be
back.
good, too. Yep.
Super Salads
I haven't
are good.
been to Sweet Tomatoes either. I've been to Super Salad. I've been to Salada.
That's not a buffet.
That's true. I guess it's not a buffet.
Salada's like overpriced salad, though.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would agree with
it
that.
is.
Name a place you go get a salad that's not overpriced.
Super Salad.
I haven't been there in
Jason's
ages.
Deli.
What's the, is it not overpriced?
Jason's
salad?
Deli, you can get unlimited trips to the salad bar at a really good price.
That's right.
Are people still going to Jason's Deli?
What's that?
Are people still going to Jason's Deli?
Oh, yeah. There's one in Sugarland that gets frequented a ton.
Okay.
I stayed next to one the other day, but I haven't been to a Jason Deli in months.
It just feels like something from the
years.
90s, doesn't it?
When we worked in Greenway, Jason's Deli was a staple, worked in at least once or twice a week.
It seems like a good place to go if you're going there. I would agree with that. But if you're picking up, like, it kind of loses the luster, right?
Right, yeah.
Because you're losing the buffet. What's the best buffet you've ever been to?
Ooh, Vegas.
Oh, that's a good call.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. The Vegas at the Rio, I think it was, is like really, really good.
There's several that are.
There's several.
Yes, very, very good. You are not going to be displeased when you leave that place.
I will say the one that's better than that, though. Pick a Brazilian steakhouse. A Brazilian steakhouse, best buffet that exists.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Turn that card over to green. Bring me all the meats.
Well, the
bring
meats
me all
though
the
aren't
meats.
technically part of the buffet though.
Maybe you're getting all you can eat.
That's
buffet to me.
Technically, it's not. The meat is not part of the buffet. It's the vegetables and all that. The pasta
but I'm
salad.
talking about all you can
that's
eat.
the buffet.
I'm talking about all you can eat.
Okay.
But you also,
That's
get,
fair.
I mean, from the level of, you're paying for it to be at a Brazilian steakhouse, but at the same time, because they want you to get full on other things than all the meat, their salad bar is really good,
You
too.
probably do get me on a technicality there, Brian. You probably do. Mine's probably more all you can eat than buffet.
I would say Joe, Sean, and I went to LaBerge a few weeks ago.
Thanks for the invitation.
We were right by the buffet there, and which was next to their sports book, and that was pretty fantastic.
I like to do the snow crab buffets at some of those casinos, like the ones at night. Ooh, baby. I mean, you can get those in Vegas too. All right, 713-780-ESPN. HRMP listener line, 713-780-3776. Someone said best buffet I've ever had is Demasi's. I haven't done the Demasi's yet.
Yeah, I've heard of Demasi's over the years,
pretty good.
but I've never been there.
What's your favorite thing at Demasi's, Brian?
I'm more. I mean, I'm not super. I'm pretty basic in a lot of things, but I would say things to make a gyro and then hummus with pita bread.
Okay, because they have good meats, good quality meats there.
Yeah, there's one in Humble right off the highway on 59 that's pretty good.
Okay, let's try it out. Also, breakfast buffets or dinner buffets, which is better?
Dinner buffet.
No doubt. I don't like eating that much at breakfast. I like a good brunch from time to time, but I don't like eating that much for breakfast.
Yeah, the other thing with breakfast is you only get so much, too, right? You can only get so much. It's either waffles or pancakes and some form of toast or French toast, and then you just got the eggs and
I
bacon.
don't know, some of these hotels you stay at when they have the free breakfast, and it's basically a buffet. Those are pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm saying, it's not like when you have the choice of shrimp and chicken and steak. And
well, if you go to a brunch, you get some cocktails.
Brunch is different because it's a combo, but if you're just going breakfast only.
True.
Yeah, it's pretty basic, whereas the dinner one, you got a lot of options.
Now, you want to go old school, give me a little Ponchos. Ponchos elite.
Eh.
I don't know that I've ever been to Ponchos.
You never raised the flag?
You got to get what do they call the sopapillas?
Sopapillas.
Those, the honey in the middle.
Were good. I'll give them that. I didn't like much of the rest of their menu.
I couldn't imagine at this stage in life eating Ponchos.
No.
It would take me a week to recover. At least a week
that
to
feels
recover.
optimistic.
Yeah, you're right. It does. All right, D'Amico, we're talking buffets. D'Amico was talking a little clarity on positions that have questions. First one, offensive line. Here was D'Amico on getting a couple of pieces back, like Titus Howard, like Kenyon Green. Here's the Texans coach.
And you have guys who've missed time. When you talk about Titus, you talk about Kenyon. Those are two guys we feel really good about up front for us. You know, we talk about our line being a strong suit for our team, and getting those guys back healthy will only add to our group, only add to what we're able to do up front. So I'm excited to see Titus back healthy, excited to see Kenyon, right, competing healthy, and to give himself the best shot to go out and show what he's capable of. So I don't think he's had that opportunity fully. So I'm excited to see Kenyon perform. He's been working out. He's been consistent every day. He's been putting the work in throughout the offseason. So excited for him.
All right. What we do here is, coach speak, all that. Of course, he's going to say that. What is he really saying?
It's put up or shut up. It's now or never, so he damn well better be ready to play his best football and be ready to do this. I think, there's a lot of covering for the former first-round pick and giving him the one last shot. They damn well better have an insurance policy.
For Kenyon?
Yeah.
Do you think that they do currently?
No, they don't. I don't.
See, this is why I don't mind drafting a guard. Like, we've argued about this.
No, I'm considering it more because what I heard him say gives me no more confidence than how I've seen him play since he's been a Texan. And if he's trying to tell me he's never been healthy since he's been a Texan, I'm not buying that. What he's selling.
You think he's been healthy? Like his rookie year, he had the banged up shoulder.
But when he came into the league, I think he was healthy, and I think he was fully capable of playing in the NFL.
Whoa, wasn't there the knee though? Wasn't he coming off knee surgery? I think so, because I think when we talked to him, he was talking about the knee.
But he was a full participant at if not right at the start of camp, right after that, and that's as healthy as you're going to be going into the NFL. And he's had opportunities since then. Then all of a sudden it was the multitude of injuries. Yes, but I think that if you come out of college and you're a first-round pick, you should have the ability to hold your own in the league, even if you're a little dinged up. And I don't think he was a little dinged up by the time the season started. That this is put up or shut up time, and I hope to God, for the sake of the Texans and where they drafted him, that he ends up being at least serviceable.
Yeah, I trust Titus more than I trust Kenyon.
For sure.
I think injury-prone guys stay injury-prone. Like, unless it's a fluky injury, guys who usually are banged up are generally guys who are banged up for a majority of their career. Not to say it plagues them every single year. Maybe they have a year or two where they stay healthy. But usually guys who are injury-prone stay injury-prone. So Kenyon Green has had issues in his first 2 years with multitude of injuries. You could say the same a little bit with Titus Howard. I'm totally okay drafting a guard or even a center if you think that Juice Scruggs can handle left guard. Juice Scruggs, in my mind, is a starter. Yeah, I think Juice Scruggs starts at either center or left guard, probably center. I think is better position center.
For sure. That's what I was going to say.
I'm not comfortable starting Jared Patterson this year, quite frankly. Like, I'm not there yet when it comes to Jared Patterson, so I'm willing to wait. Like, I want him to be a backup, not a starter. So now you're telling me that either Kenyon Green's going to start at left guard, Kendrick Green's in the mix, or somebody that you draft. I'm not opposed to drafting a guard and letting them compete at all.
Yeah, no, I don't need Juice Scruggs to put on his Twitter account that he is the center for the Houston Texans, but I'd rather have him at center than the way he played at guard. And I want Titus Howard at right tackle. I want him at his natural position that he's paid exorbitantly for, and I want him just leave him there. But, the example you give on Patterson is exactly why I don't have a whole lot of faith in Kenyon Green. It's because you drafted Patterson a whole hell of a lot later, and once he got into camp and once he started playing, he proved he can play in this league. I don't know that because of his inability to pass block, I don't know that I believe that Kenyon Green could be a player in this league.
Yeah, I'm willing to draft this guy. I'm willing to draft one as soon as 23. Not 23, 42. You traded down for 23. Yeah. Like, if somebody you love is there, like this, I do these mock drafts every day to troll the audience. People, I drafted Spencer Rattler today in the third round, and people were losing their minds, like I didn't know what I was doing. But that Jackson Powers Johnson guy from Oregon, who people love, everybody views him as like a late first rounder, probably, maybe squeaks into the early second. If he for some reason fell to 42 and you think that he's your Tyler Linderbaum, you're drafting him and Juice Scruggs is your left guard, and you have a really good offensive line. So
or you have a competition between Juice and Kenyon, and regardless of who ends up winning the job, that's a better situation.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I'm totally okay draft as early as possible.
I'm okay
doing it at 42.
I was going to say, but regardless of which of the two second-round picks you use, I'm okay with coming out of the second round with a corner and a guard if you feel like those are the two best players, because there definitely is a need for corner. And I think more than people want to admit, maybe even internally, there's a need for guard on this team.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a need for guard. And maybe Kenyon Green can step into that role. I'm not willing to act like it's a guarantee right now, and I want my offensive line to be as good as possible. Mm-hmm. So, draft me a left guard if you feel like that, or a center, and then move Juice to left guard, or like you said, have them compete. I'm cool with that too. The other position in the trenches is the defensive tackle spot, right? D'Amico Ryans asked what he wants from a defensive tackle.
With our defensive tackles position, what we're looking for, we play an attack style front. And we want guys who can attack. on guys. You can do that no matter the size, right? You talk about, is there a certain size you're looking for? I've seen guys do it at 280, 290, seen guys do it at 315. So there's a different range for different types of players. It's all about our guys just being explosive up front and being able to do what we're asking them to do.
All right, what's D'Amico really saying there?
Sweat's not out of the picture?
I heard the opposite, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, because he mentioned a specific range.
If he could be, if they're not worried about weight, which has been one of the issues with Sweat, and I know it's a one-tech thing too, but I believe that I actually almost think that he also thinks that he's already got the defensive tackles that he needs on the roster.
Yeah, see, I think he was saying that he doesn't need size.
Yeah, I
just he mentioned a specific range, and that range, I think he said like 280 to 315. And what's the best case for Sweats? 350, 355, 360.
Yeah, 365.
And he also mentioned he never mentioned like run stuffing or like clogging lanes. He talked about attacking and basically getting upfield. That to me,
but I think
that
Sweat
means
can do
pass
that.
rushing D-tackle.
I'm enamored with him, the opportunity to get a guy like that on this team.
I am too, but I taking from what he said to me, he likes a more svelte defensive tackle who can get up the field rather than clog
I think
lanes.
it's more so when you
but
hear.
Also, real quick, like not only that, but remember the Will Anderson thing we just played?
I was just going to say,
you gotta be able to like work hard and take coaching and be disciplined. Well, we know about Sweat's the exact opposite. I don't think he's a fit at all.
But you know what I was going to say about the comment, Jeremy? And it was one that I actually heard on the longer version of the Will Anderson interview. When he talked about the room and he talked about the defensive line room right now, he called out the Big F and he called out Settle and he talked about the guys that were going to be the integral guys that he felt like were going to be a part of what they're doing on the defensive line. It kind of lends itself to me that they might already have every guy that they're going to use on the defensive line.
I wouldn't rule that out. I think that is in play. I agree with you on that. Left guard or defensive tackle at 42?
Ooh, left guard.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm coming around because of the fact that I believe that I really believe that the two guys that you brought in at D tackle with NFL experience is what D'Amico really wants. He doesn't want to take a college kid and hope that he can groom him and mold him quickly. I think that he believes that because he's got the 3 pass rushers, he's got 2 NFL guys that, from what I've been told, and I've got people that are all over the Bills that tell me that Settle, especially stopping the run and doing things to like provide a push, he can do. I think that guard's a more important position. We know how important CJ is, but with all the weapons you got on offense, the last thing you need is to have a gaping hole on the left side of your line.
Yeah, I think that you have come around on that.
I have.
Maybe not full 180.
No,
but,
but I'm definitely in consideration. Yep.
150-ish.
Yep.
And they've also talked about how they want to get better at the run. Like, okay, you added your running back. How about upgrading the offensive line? Like, I think upgrading the offensive line is more impactful to upgrading the running attack than mixing over Devin Singletary.
And ironically, the guy that came into this league supposedly being an above-average run blocker is the guy that you can't pass block, so you can't put out there.
Yeah, and hopefully he evolves and he takes over that position and he's your starting left guard for the next 7 years.
It'd be great.
Like, that would be awesome. But let's be realistic when we have this conversation. But also the competition can lead him to that. Oh, I'm worried about my job. I'm worried about my roster spot. Let me push. If you need motivation like that, I question your professionalism.
And I think he's already got it.
Yeah, he does have his why. There's no doubt. All right, 713-780-ESPN HRMP listener line 713-780-3776. I don't know about you, but I love that we can be casuals for this NFL draft. What about you, Hive? Are you happy that you can be a casual with this NFL draft? 713-780-ESPN. It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Coming to you live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Killer Bees.
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Here's Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
Do you like that you can be a casual for the NFL draft this year? 713-780-ESPN. We are having a draft party, though, by the way. So don't be too casual. Go to the draft party. Who's doing that show? It's Joe.
Joe, Brian, Paul,
Joe,
Del.
Brian, Paul, and Del. Oh, good.
Yeah.
You got four-headed months. A quartet. You guys
I volunteered, but Joe, normally just he normally throws me by the wayside. So
I think Joe gave me an empty invitation. Are y'all doing that? Are you doing that somewhere, Brian?
It's in studio, isn't it, Brian?
Well, there's been some talk of different places, but I don't know what's official, so I don't want to say the name yet.
Blanker's house is up for grabs. Y'all can do it there.
No, it's really not, Jeremy.
He'd be
Can we
happy
do it in
to
the Blankers
host.
living room?
He'd be happy to host. He wouldn't mind at all.
Not an option. No.
4636.
And that's when the dogs could come in handy.
Well, when the Texans are on the clock, just signal the dogs to bark. 4636, didn't they trade their second-round pick for Diggs? No, they didn't. They traded the Minnesota 2025 second-round pick for Diggs. So the pick that they got to move down 19 spots, which was next year's second for Minnesota, they used that pick to trade for Diggs. So they still have pick 42, the pick that they acquired to trade down, and then they also have their own second-round pick, which is number 59. So they actually have two second-round picks. They have 42 and they have 59. So the second day of the draft will be a lot of fun because the Texans have 2 seconds and they also have a third. So, and we know that Nick Caserio is a Will and Dillon son of a gun.
Yeah,
so,
it's definitely a lot more fun.
A little delayed, but it works.
I definitely think it's a lot more fun knowing that you're sitting here where anything that happens, unlike last year where you were shocked and then you were hopeful and then you were analyzing it. This year it seems like they've covered so many bases and gotten so many starters so far and upgraded the defense in so many position groups that we were worried about that, like, even if they trade into the first round, you're like, okay, that's cool. Let's see who they got. And if it's one of the positions we identify they should still be looking for, or a player that kind of fell down and slipped and you could get, great. But it's not like the urgency of us thinking about before the draft and before free agency going, man, think of all the starters. The draft, they're going to have to get, this many starters. Now they don't have to be as concerned with that.
Yeah, so they still have their second round pick to the texters question, which would make that second day fun. 6005, you guys are cool with the back of bed of the defense. I think he means back end of the defense. I'm still hoping for corner or safety.
Yeah, I didn't say for me personally, I didn't say
it.
We're cool. I would have already cut Jimmy Ward. It doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Well,
but
you got to have someone replace him. That was the problem.
Right, but I'm still not opposed to, and I said just a segment or so ago, if you tell me in the second round that they get a corner and an offensive guard, I'd still be great with. I'd be fine with. I think that'd be perfect for this team. So I definitely start with corner, but I think they got to add a safety somehow, somewhere too.
Well, I'm BPA. Like, if the best guy on my board's a corner, draft a corner. If the best guy on my board's an interior offensive lineman, draft an interior offensive lineman. If the best guy on my board's an interior defensive lineman, draft an interior defensive lineman. And I think the Texans have positioned themselves to where they can be BPA. They can draft the best player available. So I really don't care. I want the Texans to draft the best player that they have on their board that's not a quarterback.
I also think that what you're looking at is the fact that there are still plenty of guys that are out there that aren't signed yet, that if you do get BPA and you pass on a certain position group or something, there's still some guys that you could probably bring in and look at how
especially at safety.
Yeah.
Especially at safety. Maybe not corner.
There's a big
guard,
name at safety that I'd love to have that's probably a pipe dream. But whether it's Simmons or it's others, there are safeties out there to where if you don't get one in the draft, there's still, and with as creative as they were with the Diggs deal, I think that there's a way that they manipulate their finances to get a safety off the street that's still out there if they have to.
1970 Branham, who is your Will Levis this year? He's asking because I hit on that. I was right about Will Levis when other people were wrong about
Didn't
Will
you
Levis.
say you were never you were done in the quarterback evaluation thing?
I say a lot of things I don't remember. But I was right on Will Levis. I was wrong on C.J. Stroud. I thought Will Levis was way better than everybody else, and Will Levis was the second best rookie quarterback last year in the NFL. So chalk that up as a W for Branham. But that leads to this point. I haven't really looked at draft prospects a whole lot. Like, I'll read stuff on them. I'll look at some of the mocks for people that I respect. I like looking at the big boards more to kind of get an idea of, like, who best players available will be. But I've been far more casual, as you might expect, Texans not having a pick in the first round than last year when they had 2 and 12. And I got to admit, This is way better. It's way better to be a casual about the NFL draft than sweating who's going to be the second pick, the 12th pick, who's doing what's Caserio going to do. And then the other byproduct of that is it means you're not a bad football team that's winning 3 or 4 games. You're a good football team that's winning 10 or more games, and you're in the playoffs.
Well, the other thing, too, is like you said, the main thing was when you were taking the quarterback, were you getting the right one? Was the guy going to be able to, was he going to pan out? And there were so many question marks about even if you took a position of need like quarterback, were they going to be the right quarterback? Now you're looking at best players available and guys that are sliding and the opportunity to move up if you see a player sliding that you want to go get, but there's a better chance and likelihood because of the position they play and because of how good your team is that you're going to get a good player that's going to be able to play for you at the position that you're getting him to draft, as opposed to, boy, I sure hope Will Anderson's a hell of a pass rusher, and I sure hope we got the right quarterback.
If I'm hearing you correctly, Joe, I think what you're saying is this allows us to actually enjoy the fun of the draft without the stakes being so high that we're living and dying with every move up the draft board.
Yeah.
Like we obviously, the Texans obviously have needs. I mean, we mentioned them: corner, safety, interior, offensive line.
There's more guarantees as long as you don't take a guard in the top 15.
Yeah,
if you don't,
you can relax.
That if you take a guard, it's pretty safe to say they've done enough due diligence, and a guard's got a better chance to hit than. Especially if you take a guard in the second or third round.
I was going to say,
as long as especially if you take him in the second or third round,
a second or third round guard doesn't have a better chance to hit than a first round guard.
But Jeremy, my point is, I've seen enough guys in this league where a lot of the offensive linemen that become starters and above average players are taken in the 6th and 7th rounds.
Oh, yeah,
but if you've done enough due diligence to say I'm going to take a guard in the second or third round, I would think that I'm feeling pretty good that there's a chance they're going to contribute and they're going to be all right, as opposed to.
I think you're reaching a little bit here. Like, you don't think they did due diligence on Kenyon Green and draft them in the first round? Like, you have to hit on your scout, and then you also have to be a little bit lucky. Like, it's not about due diligence. Like, they should all do due diligence.
That's
their job.
But what I'm saying is, as opposed to the pressure and everything that comes with, and then going overzealous and taking a guard in the first round, that's supposed to be a can't miss. But I think you can get a guard in the later rounds or the second or third round that could still end up being a guy that starts with you, whether right away or, and can be there for years.
I 100% agree with that. You can find good players at most every position not in the first round. But every position in the NFL, you're going to find more good players out of the first than the rest of the – I mean, it's just
the roundabout way I was getting to it, though, too, is saying it's not like when you're evaluating quarterback and it's such an important position that you got to hit. And like Brian, what I was saying about you got to cross your fingers even after you draft him going, did I get the right guy? Can he play? Is he one of the guys that are going to be good? I think with guard, there's a better chance to hit. Yeah.
Lower stakes, yeah. I can be casual about the draft, and I like it. Love it. I'm going to have to watch film, hours and hours of film.
They can miss, and we cannot freak out about it right now. I think that's the difference. Or is if they missed last year, especially trading up to then also have the 3rd overall pick, we'd freak out if they miss. Now, if you miss on a second-round pick, it's not as big of a deal. It hurts, but
has Stevie Nelson signed yet?
I haven't seen that he has.
I don't think so either. To where even if you don't go corner, I mean, and if you're not totally sold on Henderson and Okudah, that you could still bring in a guy like that. That's my point, though. Is there's free agents out there.
At what point are you not going to be satisfied with Okudah and Henderson that you're going back to Nelson though?
No, but I'm saying that was just a name and example to say if there's safeties out there, just like the Stevie Nelsons at corners, if there's a position you don't take in the draft. There's still guys out there that can fill that role.
Yeah, Nelson might be too close to home. I think if you drafting other corner or signing other corners before you even entertain bringing him back, I think that ship is sailed. But somebody who's played somewhere else, I agree with. 713-780-ESPN, HRMP listener line, 713-780-3776. Every now and then we'll do some Will-A-Bits. What is today's Will-A-Bit? You never know what you're going to get, but you always know it's going to be radio gold. It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
The Killer Bees are back, and I honestly have no idea what's happening next. Could it be the next great big food debate? The biggest Joel rant of all time? Jeremy trolling someone to the point of crying? Or just some actual bees making some honey? Well, let's find out. It's time for the Wheel of Bits.
Oh my goodness, would you look at this? What an enormous spin.
Let's play back of the baseball card.
Okay, he's blank. I'm Branham. I've never heard this one before. She said, back of baseball card?
It's new.
Back of the baseball card. Playing off our friend Jeff Bagwell and all the Astros talking about the back of people's baseball cards. I thought I'd see if head-to-head, Joel and Jeremy, who could get closer to the actual number on someone's back of the baseball card.
What was Jeff Bagwell's wife's ex-husband? It was Dr. Brown?
Dr. Brown, the Brown Hand Center.
The commercial was
Daddy's
what?
Little Girl.
Daddy's little girl. So is our robot Daddy's little girl?
What's her name again?
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
I don't know if she's British. I don't think Daddy's little girl's British.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
All right, so what is this?
So I'm going to give you guys, or ask you guys, to get or see who gets closer. Like, let's give an example. This is not one of them, but let's just say Yordan Alvarez career home runs. What is his career home runs on the back of his baseball card? And you're both going to give answers. Whoever's closer will get a point. We're going to do or best out of 5, and then whoever gets the most out of the 5, whoever's closer, will be the winner for that day.
All right, Blank, get off the Twitcher, get off the text line, Blankers.
I'm trying to figure out.
Put the computer on a random page.
You got to log out of baseball reference.
help.
You know me, I'm always on Baseball Reference.
You're always on the Twitch? They can help you out.
You're the moderator. I just work here.
Truth always comes out.
Yeah, I don't know. Might be onto something. All right, you ready for number 1?
Twitchers better be careful. I'll ban them. Yeah.
Okay.
Who's going first?
Since we're not doing Prices Right rules, it doesn't really matter, but we'll go ahead and alternate. Joel will go first this time, and then we'll alternate with each one.
How many are we doing?
5. So it's best of 5. Whoever's closer gets the point, and we'll do best of 5. First
I'm
one.
Terrible at this.
Oh, well, that's
I'm not feeling too good either. Shocker.
Maybe the winner will be me then. All right, first one, career home runs for Jeff Bagwell. Joel, what does the back of the baseball card say for career home runs for Jeff Bagwell?
I want to say he was close to 500. I will say.
Maybe a shot clock.
Oh, shut up. 475.
475.
474.
Jeremy is the winner.
I think it was 449.
449 on the dot. 449 on the dot.
Look at this game.
Wow. What a start. I'm done. I'm retiring from this game. I don't need to play this game anymore. This is as far as we need to go. I'm retiring.
All right. I thought that might be the easiest of the group, especially being like right below a kind of a milestone number there of 450.
I knew he didn't get to the milestone of 500, but I didn't know how far. Yeah.
I mean, you weren't very far off.
I can't believe I hit the number.
Yeah. Jeremy played.
I'm going to suck at this game.
He still kind of prices right you there, even though we are not using prices right rules.
Been his thing.
All right. So now Jeremy will go first on this one, so he can't do that each time. So next one up is Lance Berkman's. If you'll notice a theme here, these are all Killer Bees in the debut episode of Back of the Baseball Card. Lance Berkman's career batting average.
I'm looking at Lance Berkman's butt right now. No joke. I'm being dead serious. I'm at the baseball park. Houston plays Houston Christian tonight. Houston Christian's head coach, Lance Berkman, he's currently sitting behind the cage watching batting practice, showing his rear to me, just in case you needed to know that.
Why are you zoned in on his rear?
I wasn't. I was seeing where he was so I could say what I'm looking at. It just happens to be his rear.
At the back of Lance Berkman's rear.
His career batting average.
Lance
Berkman's career batting average. He walked a lot. He slugged a little bit. It's in the 3s, but how high into the 3s? I will go 313.
Joel?
I'm going to go.
We need music for sure.
Yeah, we're going to have to put some music in here. Here, I'll get some music.
Yeah, let's get some thinking music.
Man,
the way we can think. There we go.
I'll say.
This probably isn't great.
307.
That's baseball.
307. Joel is the winner. The career batting average is 293 from Lance Berkman.
Okay.
So you're both over, but Joel was closer.
I wanted to say 303. I don't know why.
I just wanted to believe he was a career 300 hitter.
I thought he
was. I did too. I've actually been fooled by that multiple times on the Immaculate Grid.
He's still in excellent shape, though. All right,
yeah, you should know. You're staring at his butt.
Look at his butt.
All right. Number 3, we've got 3 more to go. Craig Biggio, career hits. Joel, you're first on this one. What does the back of the base card say, or back of the baseball card say for career hits for Craig Biggio?
I can bet that it's over 3,000, and I can bet it was a double where he was thrown out.
Not the question.
He's just showing off his knowledge.
Yeah, humble bragging.
3,000 and I'm going to go 3,050.
You said 50?
Yeah.
Okay, 3,050. Jeremy, what is your answer?
He did that like in June, didn't he?
Don't help.
I can't really
it was
give
like
you,
in the. I'm pretty sure it was in the summer. I want to say he finished up like at 3,080. So he said 3,050.
He said 3,050. Yes.
I'll go 51.
Jeremy played the game smartly.
You know what?
Answer,
you can do it too. We're taking turns.
The answer is 3,060. So Joel was very
60,
close,
wow.
but Jeremy played the game well.
That was a good. That was a good number that you said though. That was really
that's
close.
the way I was thinking about it. He did it, and it was his last year,
and it was the summer.
It was close to the end of the year. Yeah.
You should be really proud of that. Don't worry if you don't get any further.
Thanks.
All right, so Jeremy is up 2-1. Joel, you need this to stay alive. Next one on the Killer Bees for the back of the baseball card. Billy Wagner, career saves. Jeremy is first on this one. What is the career save number for Billy Wagner?
This one's hard. Career saves for Wagner. Let's see. Oh, he played in the bigs for like 18 years. Probably hurt for 15 of them. If he averaged, I'll say 415.
415. Joel, what is your answer, sir?
416.
Joel wins. It is 422.
I knew it was over 400 with the Hall of Fame discussion, so I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm trying to get him back.
All right,
was really
so
close.
We are tied 2-2 going into the final question on the debut episode of Back of the Baseball Card. Last one, question number 5. Alex Bregman, his best career season for home runs. What is his career high for home runs in the season? And Joel will be going first on this one.
36.
That's over. He had 2 seasons, he had at least a season 40. I wanted to say like 41, 42, but it's over. He had 1 season in the 40s.
So what's your answer then?
What did Blanker say?
36.
37.
It is 41.
41.
So
yeah, he did that
Jeremy wins.
I think when he finished runner-up in MVP to Trout when he hit the 41.
Yeah,
I knew it was his MVP running year.
It was 2019.
I wasn't sure he got to 40.
That was his only season
Was that
over
the runner-up
40.
year?
I believe, yeah, he was runner-up that
19,
year.
right?
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to blurt out the answer at the same time.
Yeah, I think so too. As we got into this, I definitely noticed the flaw in the system that you could just if
it's
you knew
basically
you were
an over
close,
and under.
you could just
The Price is Right gave us too much of a strategy.
We'll have to over/under. We'll have to blurt it out at the same time. Like it's like the showcase. Like even on the showcase, they have to. Well, they have 2 different things. But we'll both lock in our answer.
That's what you have to do
and
first.
then he'll say
we'll
1,
wait for
2,
you to
3,
think
shoot.
of an answer. And
Like
then blurt it out
Jeopardy,
at the
but we
same
got to
time.
show them at the same time.
Yeah, we reveal our cards at the same time. That's a fun game. I liked it, especially since I won.
Well, congratulations.
All right, what are we voting for our car wreck of the day? 713-780-ESPN. What is your car wreck of the day? 713-780-3776. Killer Bees, ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
You're back with the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
Total Arlington said back of the baseball card is definitely going to win a Twitchy Award. Keep it up. We should have that each and every year. Instead of the ESPYs, we should have the Twitchies.
The Twitchies.
And have like the personality of the year, the Twitch of the year. We can do it with the textures too. Maybe we can combine the two. I like the idea of that. Good ideas are born in Arlington. Dallas, not so much. All right, Hunter Brown music, that's good. Maybe this is going to back on track. He didn't have his music whenever he got destroyed the other day because he pitched before we were on the air. If Hunter Brown pitches poorly today, I'd rather Spencer Arrighetti get the next start.
And we're also I just told Brian, and we're changing the tune.
Yeah, we got to take away the music.
We might not have an opportunity.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'd be gone. What is the line from let's do the over-under. You give us Hunter Brown's line, Blankers, and we'll over-under it.
5 innings, 3 runs.
Sold. I'll take that right now. I don't have a great feeling about Hunter Brown against this lineup, but I would take that line. I'll take that line
I
right
would
now.
take the under on innings.
All right, really?
Yeah.
I would like to take the under on how many times he throws the slow curveball.
Yeah.
I'd like to have him put it in his back pocket for at least a start.
Yeah, he hung. I went back and watched that because I remember we were talking about it at East River 9, and I was wondering if he was tipping. And I went back and looked at every pitch he gave up a hit on.
Yep.
It was like hanging breaking ball, middle,
Yeah,
hanging breaking ball, middle, hanging breaking ball, middle.
I told you that. Everything was belt high, screaming, just pound it.
Let's go a little fastball, man. You got your heat. Throw it up and in. Throw us a little fastballs. Get ahead of your fastballs and then throw breaking balls out of the zone. Like he's hanging curveballs in the middle of the zone. You can't do that. Can't do that in baseball. Can't do that in the Braves. All right, car wreck of the day. What are you nominating, Blankers?
All right, easy one, Josh Hader, because once again, even though we believe he's going to figure it out.
Can we throw to the car wreck music? I feel like we got to throw to the music, right?
Let's
I got to go.
Car wreck of the day. Yeah, let's hit the car wreck of the day. All right, Blanker's going to hit the car wreck, and then he's got to go pick up the girls. Blankers, What is your car wreck of the day?
Josh Hader for the 9th inning, again, a less than stellar performance. And you guys yesterday, because Jeremy said he had another one geared up for me already, but you guys both didn't know that Deion Sanders played for Washington.
Yeah, I don't know about old football players.
Got to go by.
Makes sense that you would know about old football players, though.
It's probably best that he took off his headset for that one. I don't think he would have liked that.
Yeah,
honestly, I'm fine with us not knowing he played for Washington. Like, how memorable could that have been?
I don't remember. I don't really remember that.
Like, I remembered him playing for 4 of the 6 teams that are on the list. Obviously, the Falcons, Niners, Cowboys, and oddly enough, I remembered him playing on the Ravens, but I did not remember him playing for Washington.
How many career games did he? Because the text line lit us up too, and then Blankers texted us.
Did they really?
I mean, yeah, they
how
couple
many
of them say he played for Washington.
fans are there?
Yeah, our listeners know ball. Our listeners are smart. He was only there for 1 year, though. And you know what? It was actually his final year before retirement, and then he retired for 3 years and then came back and played final 2 at Baltimore. I didn't realize he retired after he was 33. So he was retired 34, 35, 36, came back and played 2 years in Baltimore. Wow. Yeah, he played 1 year at Washington. Yeah, but when Blankers texts that Deion played at Washington, he misspelled Deion. So there is that.
I don't blame us for missing that one.
What are you nominating for car wreck of the day?
I mentioned it, I think, in passing earlier in the show, but I'm going to nominate King Charles, the show on CNN with Charles Barkley and Gayle King getting canceled after, 2 months?
I had never heard of this.
Wait, never heard of the show?
No.
And I think obviously that's part of the problem. No one was watching. The article I read about it, the ratings were terrible. But I think the biggest problem is they gave it no chance, and the article points it out. Like, they launched this show in the middle of the basketball season when how much effort can Charles put into a CNN show during basketball season, especially when he's got March Madness to worry about. They should have kicked this off in mid-June or late June after the NBA season's over.
So what was this? It was just a 30-minute show with...
I don't remember if it was 30 minutes or an hour. I never watched it. I just remember seeing the commercials for it.
And they would just opine about, news stuff?
Yeah, news and politics, yeah.
Maybe he was too right-wing for CNN.
I couldn't tell you what his opinions were. I didn't watch it. Maybe I'm part of the problem. But, you would think a show with the personality of Charles Barkley would be bulletproof to not being canceled after 2 months, but apparently not.
We'll get. I don't know. All right, I'm going to nominate Josh Hader, like all of our texters are nominating Josh Hader. Are there even any real nominations for car wreck of the day than Josh Hader? He was like a car wreck rolled into a dumpster fire last night. What is this? What is the new little walk-up thing he's got going on, too? What is his nickname? They're called Hater Time. Haterade Time. Haterade Time. Haterade Time getting shelled for 4 runs. Haterade Time. Kidding me?
Now, wait,
Josh,
who gave him that nickname?
I think he gave it to himself. Haterade.
I don't like that.
I have no idea. Somebody else could have given it to him. I don't know. Josh Hader's the car wreck of the day. No surprise it took him into 2024 to make the big club. Sarcasm on the second part. Grade the joke.
3.
Give it a 2.2.
I don't think we're that far off.
8807, why has Josh Hader pitched in 50% of our games? He should. He's $19 million. He should be pitching in half of your
he's the
games.
most expensive reliever you have. You don't want to use him?
Yeah. It's like fine china? Like you only bring it out for like the most important situations? Like, what do you mean? Why is he pitching 50% of the games? Because he's your highest paid reliever. He's supposed to be your best reliever. 3209 says Miller and Clark, fire them, such a car wreck. Is he talking about Dave Clark, the first base coach?
No, he's talking about the pitching coaches,
well,
right?
That would be Murphy and Miller.
Yeah, I think they just mixed up the names. I assume he's talking about the pitching coaches.
Murphy and Miller have been getting a lot of heat.
They've been getting heat for a couple of years too. So I would figure, especially if Josh Hader, your $19 million fine china, continues to mess up, then that's certainly going to expedite their oucher.
Yeah. 0315, Giannis being sidelined for the beginning of the playoffs. Is he going to miss the whole series?
I haven't heard that, but obviously you're coming off the heels of him missing 1 or 2 playoff games last year, which was obviously a big part of the reason why the Heat got past him in the 8-1 upset. So, yeah, that would be pretty bad for Milwaukee.
There's almost playoff basketball today.
Yeah, there's playing. So playing game to you isn't playing playoff basketball then?
No, it doesn't count as a playoff game.
I agree with you. I'm just clarifying that you're saying it's not part of the playoffs because I feel the same way about.
I'm talking about technicality. It's not like the NBA doesn't recognize it as a playoff game.
Oh, that's
it
fair.
Pretty much is because your season's on the line. Like that's playoff-ish, but the NBA doesn't recognize it as a playoff game.
You see, I feel the same way about the wild card game in baseball, but I wasn't sure where you fell on those.
So the wild card game counts as the regular season, doesn't it?
I think it did. I don't think it does anymore.
Like the stats you put up in the wild card game, doesn't it count as the regular season stats?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. There was a point of time, didn't they for a little while play like a game 163 essentially as a wild card 1-game playoff? But now they made the wild card round 3 games. So it's structured like a playoff, but to me I don't really consider it a playoff.
Yeah, 163 they counted to real stats, but they got rid of 163 with the new playoff expansion. Now they just have the tiebreakers that determine all that. They got rid of game 163. Yeah, Lakers-Pelicans tonight and Warriors-Kings tonight. If the winner of the Lakers-Pelicans is in the playoffs, the loser of Lakers-Pelicans plays the winner of Warriors-Kings. You going to be watching this?
I might catch some of it. What'd you think of, I'm trying to remember who gave it out, but there was a take going around the internet today that people were trying to say the Lakers should lose on purpose so they avoid the Nuggets in the first round.
Oh, yeah, because they would get a... No, I think that you have to punch your ticket whenever you have the opportunity to punch your ticket. To me, you can't lose a game on purpose to now where you're 1 game within your season ending.
Especially when you got guys like Anthony Davis and LeBron who could get hurt even while you're trying to gag the game.
No, I think that's the worst idea I've ever heard. Like,
it's pretty
taking
bad.
that game during the play-in to face an elimination game tomorrow?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I don't love that. Now, the Lakers are dogs in that game.
Are they? What's the line?
Pelicans 1.5-point favorites.
How much
Warriors are 1.5 point or 2.5 point favorites on the Kings on the road.
How much would that change the narrative for Zion if they finally get into the playoffs with him?
I think it would change a little bit. I think he's kind of gradually changed the narrative this year. He's been a little healthier this year. I hope the Warriors beat the Kings though, because I want to see the Warriors. I'd like to see Warriors-Lakers tomorrow with both of their seasons on the line. I guess it wouldn't be tomorrow. It would be Thursday,
yeah,
right?
and a winner-take-all scenario, that would be
a
great.
lot of fun. Do you have any other car wrecks?
Yeah, a couple quickly. I don't know if you saw this. The Giants initially called out Taylor Rogers last night to come in for relief, but the manager apparently, I guess, sent the wrong signal. So Taylor Rogers had to do the walk of shame back to the bullpen to have only to have Camilo Duvall come back out.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, I put the link in our Google Doc at the bottom if you want to watch it. It's pretty funny.
I mean, that's Bob Melvin. How's Bob Melvin screwing up?
I don't know.
They brought back the pitcher that was already in the game. They didn't have to bring in another reliever?
No, so he brings he goes out to the mound. Taylor Rogers comes out from the bullpen. He had been warming up, and they send Rogers back to the bullpen to then bring out Camilo Duvall.
Yeah, he had to bring out somebody else.
Yeah.
Wow, that's rough. All right, what's winning?
I mean, it's got to be Josh Hader, right?
Yeah, I think Josh Hader takes this, unfortunately. Haterade time. It's Haterade time for our car wreck of the day. Congratulations, Haterade. You're our car wreck of the day. All right, Space Cowboys, you can find them at 6:35 on ESPN 92.5. So you're looking for some Space Cowboy baseball. 92.5, 6:35. Coming up at 7 o'clock in an hour, it's Hall of Fame with Booker T, the Killer Bee tournament champion, and Brad Gilmore alongside him. All right, does it for us. Thanks to Brian for doing all the hard work. He was Blankers. I am Brandon. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Houston, from Highway Cantina. So long.